CoCoTALK would like to thank our patrons, the real sponsors of our show. So a heartfelt gratitude goes out to Al Hartman, Alan Huffman, Blair Ledoux, Brendan Donahue, Brian Weasler, Christina Armstrong, D. Bruce Moore, Davey Mitchell, Diego, Disney Saints fan, Eric Canales, Fedor Stamen, Grant Leedy, Jason Bucata, Jason Downs, Jenna Farron, Ken Reichert, Kyle Etter, Malfunk, Paul Fiscarelli, Paul Shoemaker, Richard Lorbieski, Rob Inman, Steve Bjork, Terry Steen, Terry Steggy, The Backyard Shed Gang, Tom C., and Tom S. Thank you very much, patrons. CoCoTALK is an unscripted live broadcast. Anything can and will happen. The views and opinions expressed by members of the panel and the live audience are their own and not necessarily those of the CoCoTALK show, its sponsors, affiliates, or subsidiaries. Open minds encouraged, sense of humor recommended. If any off-color comments were made, we're sorry.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS 80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. It's time to drop your socks and grab your real-time clocks, and let's rock.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another week in quarantine. Since you've got nothing better to do, how about another episode of CoCoTALK? Episode 155 is coming at you, and we've got some guests today, boys and girls.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. We are here. The panel is assembled. It is another fine week of CoCo talking with the CoCo Talkers. We've assembled a panel of people with squeaky chairs for you. And so how about we go around the room and say hello to those who are here. We've got all kinds of guests, some special, some I am your host this week, Stevie Stroh, until the ankle bracelet has been removed. We've got our resident Apple guy, Mark D. Overholzer. Welcome back, Mark.
Thank you. Glad to be here as always.
We've got a guy who definitely knows the way to San Jose. He likes it. He likes it. It's Mikey. How you doing, Mikey?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Excellent. From sunny Arizona, Ron Delvo is there. Welcome, Ron.
It's Rondo Deluxo. How you doing?
Rondo Deluxo, neighbor to Mr. Popeil. Robert Allen Murphy is with us today. How you doing, Robert?
Howdy. Doing all right. Hope everybody else is doing good.
We're doing great. He's hanging out in the Tandy Shack. It's Terry Steggy. Welcome back, Terry.
Good morning, everybody, or afternoon. Sorry, some places.
That's quite all right. We got a guy who gets some things and makes us all jealous. Brian Weasler's with us. How you doing this week, Brian?
Hello.
We have a man whose name is so nice we must say it thrice. It is none other than soundboard not working, but you know who we're talking about here. Nick Marotta. How you doing there, Nick?
You know what? I don't care what you say. My mom says I'm special.
So does your bus driver. So Nick is here. We also have brother of Ken Reichert, famous video game author extraordinaire. This guy makes more money than Nicholas Marentes. Brother of Ken Reichert, Jason, the Coco Man Reichert, is with us. How you doing there, Jason?
Oh, we're hanging in there. I got the $5 ukulele, and I'm ready to go.
I think Jason was trying to leave his house today, and somebody came up to him and said,
"Stop right there."
That's right. Says, "You're in quarantine, mister." We have our backup engineer and well-dressed dude, Mark Bosley's with us. How are you, Mark?
Hello.
He's from Canada, and he's sorry. L. Curtis Boyle's with us. How's it going, eh?
Sorry, I was almost late, but I made it.
All right.
He has stories, see?
That's right. We got a guy who's, let's just call him Mr. Enthusiasm. And I'm not talking about David Ladd. I'm talking about the very dapper and debonair Alan Huffman. How are you, Alan?
Doing just fine. Pleasure to be back. Thank you for joining me.
It's always a pleasure to join you.
Are we on your show, Alan? Awesome.
All about Alan.
It's the Alan Huffman Hour.
Thanks for having us.
It's featuring Alan Huffman and all about Alan Huffman. Enough about Alan Huffman. Let's talk about Alan Huffman. We do have a guy who's extremely enthusiastic and has got a great head of hair. We're talking about, of course, David Ladd. How's it going, David Ladd?
Hello, everyone. Are we ready for this train wreck to get moving down the rails? You know what? At least it's a good sunny day here in Nebraska, and I'm enthusiastic for this show to get moving. And yes, Mikey, I see you polishing your head. You're never going to be as shiny as mine. Sorry. And here we go. Let's get the show moving.
Oh my God, I think you blew my tweeter.
That's it. So if you weren't aware who that was, ladies and gentlemen, that was
David Ladd.
That's right. And we got a guy who often finds himself saying,
"Oh, crocky!"
The Thunder from Down Under, creator of Popstar and Gunstar, none other than Nicholas Marentes. G'day, Nick.
G'day, everyone. And unlike David Ladd, I have taken my meds.
And we're thankful for it. We've got Mr. Dave 6809 with us, another Canadian. How's it going, Dave?
Oh, it's always going good.
All right, take off, you hoser. Now, Darren, have you got your audio working?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we can hear you. Good day. We'll get to you. Thanks for being here. Excellent, excellent. All right, so we have some guests who are not here all the time, so we're going to give them a little bit more time to tell us all about themselves, who they are, where they are, what they do, how they do it, all that good stuff. So how about we start with our good friend Erico Monteiro. Is it Monteiro?
Yep, Monteiro.
Monteiro, right. So my name is Erico Monteiro. You killed my father, prepare to die. All right, so.
An awesome last name. It is totally a great last name.
So how are you, Erico? Thanks for joining us today. Tell everybody where you are, what you did back in the day, all that good stuff.
All right, I'm in Brazil, and a long-time CP400 user since the 80s. Wanted to make animations with it ever since I was a kid. Ended up going to a cinema school for a degree. So I pretty much work with this stuff. Movie making, animations, illustrations, and I still keep color computer at my heart. And like you guys know, I enjoy doing SG4 graphics. I love the artifact colors of the color computer 1 and 2. It's amazing stuff. And it's good to be here with you guys again, right? It's good to have all these communities pumping up.
Excellent, excellent. Great. And in a minute when we finish introducing everybody, we get to project updates. You got a few things to share with us too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got one. Oh, we get to there.
Yeah. Okay. So great. We also have another special guest who's been invited by Curtis Boyle. He actually said he watched the show and he joined us anyways. So Rick Ulland, as I said before the show, you've got great taste in beers but poor taste in shirts. But welcome to CoCoTALK, Rick. So how are you?
Oh, fairly well indeed. Glad to find the place. So I guess back in the day, I hung out on CompuServe at 300 baud and had a modem pack. And I found out how to upgrade that modem pack. Sold a few of those. Drew up an RS-232 pack. Couldn't afford a good case, so I made it fit in a game ROM. Dave Myers at CoCo Pro liked those, and he sold them for a while. And based on that, I started a company, Connect, which lived for a few years. We made some interesting products and some boring products and bought a lot of fire steel stuff. Somewhere in there I ran into Frank Swigert and wrote a column for TW68M for a couple of years, and then child support hit. So I got a day job, became system administrator, Linux admin for 20 years. I was retired last May, and decided rather than look for another kill yourself job, I doing side hustles for a living now. So I have time to play with the CoCo again.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to have you join us, and I think Curtis would like to do a full-fledged interview with you in the near future. So we'll save some of the juicy bits for another time. But we're grateful that you joined us today. And at any time, as we're just here blathering and just foaming at the mouth talking about whatever, feel free to chime in with anything at any point in time. And another special guest today, I'm glad you can make it. But Darren, now is your last name spelled pronounced Ottery or Ottery?
Ottery.
Ottery. And you're also in Australia.
G'day.
Good day.
It's dark out.
Yeah, and so what is it, like 4 a.m. for you guys right now?
Yeah. I've just done the Easter egg mission.
Wow. So thanks for joining us. And a lot of us have been following a bunch of stuff you've been posting on Facebook with CoCo Midi packs and sequencing music. And you showed a demo from one of my favorite 80s tunes, the New Order track, Blue Monday, which I thought sounded really awesome. So thanks for joining us. How long have you been into handy computers, like from back in the day?
Yeah, I used to go and annoy the guy at the local store, the Tandy store, until they gave me a job. That was about 1987.
Cool. And have you been playing music your whole life?
Yeah. Always played in bands and writing music. And back in the day, I tried to get the CoCo to do a lot of that workflow for me, but just didn't have the money or the means to do it. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Getting back to my roots.
Cool. Now, are you familiar with who's got music playing in the background right now? Okay. Are you familiar with David O'Connor, another musician in Australia?
Yeah. Dave and I have chatted a few times, and we're talking about working together on a couple of things. But we bounce ideas back and forth. And
that's cool. That's cool. I mean, some of my favorite things are basically 80s electronica, synths, and CoCo. So the fact that you guys are fusing all of these things, you're taking all of my passions. Although I'm a frustrated musician, I never really learned how to be one. I'm a huge fan of 80s style synth heavy music, so I appreciate it at least, So I'm so glad we've got a couple of you guys who are keeping that flame alive for us. So thank you for that. If you want to share anything with us on the show, little teasers of stuff, feel free to do that. And then maybe we can schedule a formal time with you where you can really demo some of your music and stuff like that,
Yeah, sounds good. I finished the Blue Monday project. We shot a video for that last night in the studio.
Neat.
And so that's ready to unveil to the world, which I figured I'd just upload a video with high quality audio straight to the site and see what people think of it.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we look forward to that.
Can you show that video on the show here today, or?
It's not edited. So yeah, and look, I think maybe doing a live demo right now, which I could do, might be a bit unwieldy.
Okay.
But maybe it's something we could do. Maybe I should put a teaser up, right? I'll put a teaser to the site, and then maybe we can talk about how to release the file.
Yeah. Now, if it's something that we can maybe schedule for next week, if you've got it online, I can play it online, and people who are listening live will hear the full fidelity of it through the stream. So it shouldn't step on the audio too much if it's on a website, or if it's a clip I can play.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool. Love to hear that. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of 80s synth music, the whole new wave era and everything. This is so cool. So it's so good to hear people making stuff like that. And we've just been joined by Paul T. Barton, neighbor of Ron Delvaux's with us. Hey, Paul, welcome to the program.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Paul. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I got 3 hard drives and 3 hard drive controllers all running all at once.
All right.
Hi, David. Yeah.
Hi, Paul. I'm all right.
David's excited. David needs an excuse.
And the noise you hear in the background is the darn PC power supply fan blowing right on the CoCo heatsink. Trying to keep it cool.
Well, I gotta say, and Rob Inman is joining us via audio right now. Rob, live from Arizona, neighbor to Ron Delvaux and Paul T. Barton. We have Rob Inman. Rob, or do you copy? All right, my producer in the booth telling me I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties here, so hopefully Rob will be joining us here audibly in just a moment here. So it's been an interesting week, huh? We premiered a song. Who's still got that song stuck in their head from last week? Anybody besides me still have that song stuck in their head?
I have Carly Rae Jepsen on a backup tape loop so I can knock it off.
If you're not familiar with the song that we're talking about right now, here's a little teaser of a little bit of Nick Marotta coming at you on his $5 ukulele. Ken Reichert's in the live chat says, I'm sorry.
Got some time to kill, might play a little Zaxxon.
That's
Might
Rick
double
Adams.
back to play
That's
a
right.
little Temple of Rum.
$5
Dungeons,
ukuleles.
Daggereth, color baseball. But none can hold a candle to the greatest of them all, Nightmare Highway.
Yay, yes. So it's the song that's sweeping the nation. It's on the top 40 countdown this week. It's coming in at number 9 on Nightmare Highway. So number 9.
Do you have a long distance? Can I get a long distance dedication?
I'd like to do a little long distance dedication here. This one goes out to Nick Marotta. All right, so yeah, cool stuff. So that was kind of a surprise project that was put together. That song dropped last week, and it's been stuck in my head. It's a great song, great project, great story. And Ron Devo's trying to shake it out of his head right now. Yeah, Mark Overholzer says, first an auto accident, then a video game, and now a pop song. What's next? Well, actually, I have an idea of what's going to be next. But also, so that inspired me to dust off a video I recorded back in December when I interviewed Terry Steen and Ken Reichert for the newsletter. And I took a video of that because I figured we'll release this at some point in time. So it's been sitting on the shelf waiting for the right moment, and the song kind of came out, and then it was kind of the inspiration. How about we do the interview and the music and the commercials, and we kind of make this whole little thing. And so I threw that together a couple days ago, threw that out there. So if you can't get enough Nightmare Highway, there's the interview, there's the song, there's the commercials, including a bonus track, right? A rough unplugged demo by world famous Nick Marotta on the uke, right? So that's a more CoCo content for your listening and view. Rob Inman is coming in. Rob, do you copy Rob Inman?
WNBC.
There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rob Inman's with us. All right. Very good. Thanks for joining us, Rob. So yeah, to me, it's just been a fun week. Just kind of, it's such a happy song, and we're all sitting around the house getting stir crazy right now. So it's great to have some good vibes, right? So I really enjoyed that song, and that kind of got inspired, and I got a little bit more inspiration left in me. We haven't seen the last of Nightmare Highway content. I promise you, and apologize in advance. So what else is going on? How about we go around the room, and we're gonna cover now our project updates and acquisitions, what we've been working on this week, anything we want to share, our show and tell. So I believe Michael Furman, you mentioned you have a brief update of something you wanted to talk about with us. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I've been, what did I do in the last week? I haven't been on here in 2 weeks, so I did some performance testing with PyDrive Wire and Mega Mini MPI and DW Term, and I'm currently working on preparing for the next minor release of PyDrive Wire. That will have not really a feature release, some bug fixes, and some minor enhancements and things. But I'm definitely working on multiple ways to make PyDrive Wire easier to install. Easier to use will come later. Just getting people so that they, people are screaming, "Oh, you have to become a Python developer to use it." Rah, 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 rah. All right. Well, I have a couple of solutions to that problem, and hopefully we'll all be ready for next week.
Well, your efforts
that's
are
about it from here in the Silicon Valley.
All right, your efforts are appreciated. I really enjoyed seeing the CoCo do ANSI the way it did. I missed out on the whole Twilight term and all these other things. I didn't BBS back in the day. So I'm kind of seeing this stuff through new eyes, and knowing that you're kind of writing one from scratch.
Man,
It's really cool to see.
nothing's better than using a 300 baud acoustic modem on a CoCo at 32 by 16 green screen.
Oh yeah,
so much
no
fun.
lowercase.
Way to sell it. Way to sell it there. Sign me up today. Now, how much would you pay?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Now, Michael, do any of those potential solutions involve anyone taking a long walk off a short pier?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. All right, Brian Weasler, I believe you mentioned you have a little show and tell you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, I got a few things here I'd like to share with you all there. Let's see here. Let me do this real quick. Switch there we go.
Look at you, Mr.
So,
Fancy.
I got one that's kind of a little bit back there. So anyway, yeah, a couple books, and I got some games that I've picked up over the past couple weeks. This one here I wanted to get for a while. It's the hardcover of the
Nice.
69 cookbook. So that was kind of a fun one there. And then
Tab Books for the win.
Tab Books for the win.
And then, they published all kinds of great stuff that like nobody else would.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a nice book. It's just that a lot of the books aren't the hardcovers, so that's what's kind of neat about that one. And then Rainbow, I've seen them talked about. I haven't really picked up any, but this came part of a lot that I had picked up, and it was the Rainbow book of simulations.
Yeah, I think I've got that one. Yeah.
And then that was the second Rainbow, and then I have this one here, which is the third Rainbow book of adventures.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming there must be a first book. I haven't.
There's 4 adventure and 2 simulation, if I remember correctly.
4 adventure. Okay. So I'll be on the search to try to get all those together. And then I'm not sure exactly how the name is pronounced. The manufacturer, is it
Spinnaker?
Spinnaker. So they've had kind of a series of different educational type type of games, and I believe
Holy
I got them all now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which they all were. Some were ROM cartridges and some were floppies.
Okay.
But there's like Alphabet Zoo, Facemaker, Fraction Fever, Kindercomp, Kid Writer, and Kids on Keys, which is like a typing program. So
Kids
I believe
on Keys.
I'm trying to find out a list though, but I believe I have.
That company was cross-platform, so they developed that kind of educational stuff for multiple 8-bit systems of the era.
Yeah, I think I've seen like Atari and some of the other ones out there.
Apple.
Apple has some as well.
I remember playing the Spinnaker games on the Apples in the computer lab.
Nice.
School.
The kids on drugs didn't go well.
It was Nancy Reagan told him to just say
Kids
no.
on keys.
Yeah. Kids on.
And then another game here. I picked this one up. Neil Blanchard been selling this one here, the Night Lore.
Yes.
So I picked that up here recently, along with some of his. He also sells the ROM boxes.
Okay.
As well, so I picked up a stack of those because I had quite a few ROM cartridges where I had the manual and the ROM, but the boxes were deteriorating. So
I'm just looking above your head here, and it's holy floppy drives here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 uprights, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the double stacks. Can that shelf handle that much weight? As my first question.
and you have a good door lock to keep David Ladd out of there. That's the next question.
Throwing at all those floppies. Wow.
Yeah, and I have controllers for all of them as well.
Wow. So, David, are you salivating?
They all work. What's that?
Oh, yeah, babe.
Keep your doors locked.
Take this floppy and load it right now.
So that is a whole lot of floppy there.
Yeah, it's all the different versions there from the, let's see, it'd be the silver over here, the silver upright all the way to the 502.
Wow. So quite the collection.
Yeah.
Who else had a pro? I know Erico's got something he's going to share with us, so we'll save him for just about.
I did have one more thing I'd like to share if I can to interrupt here, but I posted this on Facebook, but I'd like to say it again though. Terry Steggy worked with me here on getting the Super logo. So this has been one I need to get the manual for it though, but I have the regular logo, the first one. This is the super logo. So I really appreciated him working with me on that one. He gave me a very generous offer there. And then another one I've been wanting to get for a while too. I picked up this one recently. Was the Type Mate.
Type Mate.
Yep. So
that's what Australians say to each other. Like, hey, why don't you go and type, mate?
That box is not even yellowed.
You should put a little cape on the super logo cartridge.
Yes, yes.
With an L on it.
Faster than a speeding bullet. It's super logo.
And I know there's a couple people that got these, so I hope I'm not taking anybody's wind away though. But Paul, is it Schubrer or however?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yep.
Schreiber.
And so
I think.
Schreiber, okay. He had these bag of badges that he was talking about. And I don't know if anybody else
That's
had
the deluxe color computer. One of them's upside down.
Yep, this was going to come into focus here or not.
Yeah.
This was the deluxe, and then this was a label off of the multi-pack. And then this must have been from the TRS-80.
This is all new original stock badges because he worked for Tandy. He was one of the engineers for Tandy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he acquired a bunch of stuff, possibly.
Yeah,
from
that's
the
how come he has the
auction.
deluxe color ones, because that limited run that then it got destroyed.
And then another thing that I picked up, I've never seen it before, but it's a 6-foot long cassette
extension cord.
Extension cord. It actually has a Tandy part number on it and everything. It says Tandy Wire and Cable Company, and it's kind of nice because I got the CoCo behind me, but my PC is in front of me, and so I can plug in if I want to do the WAV files to it. It's kind of nice because it extends it all the way there. But anyway.
Do you think maybe those were used for the? You remember the switcher unit for the classroom?
Yes, that might be.
Yeah, the Network 2 controller.
Oh, okay. That might have been. Yeah, but it works just great on the cassette though. Worked really well. And then the last thing I wanted to share, because I've been watching this one for over a year, and the guy never budged on the price, and I went ahead and shot him an offer, and he must have been tired of looking at it though. But it was a Color Computer 3 keyboard.
Actually, you know what that is?
That's a deluxe
That's a
CoCo.
deluxe CoCo keyboard that they,
is it
they
really?
sold
Is it the deluxe
off.
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
it's black. The CoCo 3 is a gray bezel.
Well, you're
so
right.
That's
Okay.
the leftover stock from. So you've got a keyboard and a badge from a deluxe CoCo, which is more than most of us will ever have. So.
Okay.
Can you hold up that keyboard one more time? Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
Is that black?
It's a black bezel.
Black,
it's basically a CoCo 3 keyboard with a black bezel. That's what would have gone in the deluxe color computer had it gone into mass production or made to the shelves.
I didn't realize that. Okay. Little education then. Okay, I appreciate that.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you.
That is a cool find. So you've got 2 pieces of a deluxe CoCo.
I just need a case and a system board, huh?
Yeah.
I think
Those are a bit
Boise
more
is the
rare.
only one that's got one of those.
Yeah.
Very good.
Who else had an update? Terry Steggy, did you have one?
Yeah, I've got a couple. One I had posted on Facebook, but it's the I don't know if that glares too good or not.
It's coming off of David's head, yeah. Tandy Electronics National Parts Division. Okay. Was their mail order, huh?
Yeah, it's basically anything they could. It's got all kinds of stuff, like different. What I like about it is it's all their stock numbers from the manufacturers that they would get it from.
Okay.
So you can kind of cross-reference. Anyway, got that.
What year is that from? Or quarter or whatever?
Good question. It does not post it on here that I can see anyway.
Take a look later and
where,
get back
like,
to me.
if somebody wanted to buy Moon Shuttle, for example, that's where you got it from that catalog, huh? For some of the third-party stuff that was not licensed to the shelves.
This is more the parts, I think.
Yeah, this would be like
I think there was a separate software catalog.
Yeah, you're thinking the express order.
Oh, express order.
catalog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
I do have one of those coming, but it won't be here till next week, Stevie.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
This isn't completely CoCo related, but it's a Tandy card you could put in your 1000 and watch TV.
Oh, like an analog TV tuner?
Yep, kind of like the old Win TV.
Yeah, okay,
I just
neat.
thought that was I'd never seen one
No,
before.
me neither. That's neat.
And then I got an Owlware controller.
Okay.
Yep. Is that the metal case?
It's the metal case one.
Yep.
Looks
Kind of
just
like
like
J&M based
M.
one.
Yep,
Who made that?
Alware.
Yeah, look at
That's
that.
the hard
Ooh,
drive. Nice.
3.5 inches. Is that a hard drive above it too?
Yep, got a hard drive above it. 3.5.
That's
pretty well exactly what we ran at work on our CoCo 3. That work system we showed back then, that's the same case and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Frank Hogg used to sell them amongst others.
That's
What
an
size of
interesting
drive was
floppy
that? Was that
drive
a 10?
there.
Was that
I'm
a
sorry.
was that a 10 meg drive or a 20 that's in that?
I haven't torn it open yet. I just got it yesterday, so I'm gonna slide her open and see what's in there. But yeah, it's pretty slick. I was very impressed with it. Everything's metal and it's heavy as heck. Shipping was a little expensive, but
Hopefully they parked the heads before they shipped it, right? Oh, crikey. Who else has got something you want to show and tell? A project you've been working on, a story you want to share, anything that's happened to you this week? Anyone? Anyone?
I still have an update. Yeah.
Mr. Dave, 6809, you have the floor. Do I need to stop sharing so you can share? Do you need to share something?
Yeah, I may as well share my update/fail.
I'm trying to figure out how to spotlight you right now. Make co-host. I'm trying to spotlight you. I guess where did you go, Mr. Dave? Hold on.
I'm still
Add
here.
to start. Oh, because you don't have video. That's why I can't spotlight you. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing. You can now share screen.
Alrighty. Okay, so I've been working on my own video from my CoCo.
Okay.
So let's get some pictures going here. So here we go. So here's my poor CoCo 2.
Okay. Looks like Paul T. Barton's been working on it for all those colored
video
wires.
card. That was that's crazy.
Yeah.
So here's my own composite video signal that I was able to get.
Wow.
So I was pretty happy with that. That I didn't even start tweaking it yet, and it came out really nice and clear. So I was
Just on
happy
the
with that.
breadboard?
Yeah, right off the breadboard.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, that is clean.
Oops, I'll get another picture. So that was even before any adjustments. So I got the wires right, I plugged it in, and away she went. Now, where's my other pictures? And I will show you. So here's a picture from a game, Bandito.
Okay. El Bandito. Yes.
El Bandito.
No, that's that's Bandit O, right?
Yeah.
Right, Nick Marotta? When he was looking for Time Bandit, he says, I found a game called Bandit O. So yeah, okay, cool.
Sorry, yes, Bandit. Oh, that was
Bandit
so,
O.
Still embarrassed about that one.
And we'll be here to remind you of that. So.
Oh, I know.
Constantly.
You never run jokes into the ground. That's
Never,
not like you at all.
never. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
So here is my CoCo at the moment.
Where? I don't see a CoCo. I see a.
Yeah, I fried some stuff on it. When I soldered it together, I reversed one of the negative 11 volt wires or something, and things took a turn for the worse. Yeah.
Let's just say he let the magic smoke out.
Did you really?
Yeah, but the CoCo is fine.
Okay.
The CoCo will be back in business. So I had to do my testing because I'm turning my CoCo with VGA, and I want to mix the Raspberry Pi video.
Oh my goodness.
And the CoCo video. So I had to use the CoCo VCC and the composite emitter machine. So my goal will be picture-in-picture and split screens for my CoCo/Raspberry Pi project.
This is alchemy, sorcery.
It is alchemy.
It is. Okay. Burn him.
Now, Mark Overholzer is supposed to be sending me a replacement chip.
I will be.
Until can
I'll send
get
2 of them.
Mine. Okay. Until I can get mine from China.
Okay. Make sure you
It's kind of a
disinfect
slow, kind of a slow process.
CoCo VGA tests. Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm still working on the VGA project, and it's going well, but I can't do it on my CoCo at the moment until I get a new chip. But
Okay.
it's been a fun project.
That is
And
cool.
I don't mind saying that I failed there. And these things happen.
Well, you had a minor setback.
This is a picture of my first video signal. Didn't quite look like it should.
This is David's
That
heartbeat.
doesn't look like a video signal.
This is David's heartbeat when we talk about floppies. So.
Oh, Stevie, you know how to get me current.
Cool.
Let's see, one last picture here. Yeah, I don't know. This was before I found a black and white signal right on the chip, so that got me started. Now this was without desoldering all the RF box. I was able to get a composite image. But
so this is a CoCo that you've now got on black and white?
Yeah, well, there's one pin on the video chip that spits out a signal that you can use as a composite signal.
Okay.
Luma.
Yeah, it's the Luma signal, exactly. And you don't even need the little RF box or anything. So I could still use that if I get really stuck.
Man, you're just a busy guy.
So David, Dave, have you seen the movie Toy Story?
Yes.
There's a kid named Sid who would take toys. He'd take like a doll's head and attach it to like a creepy spider body.
Oh yeah, in the original Toy Story, yeah.
That's you. That's you in the CoCo world. We're gonna start calling you Sid.
Ah, okay. That's pretty clean right there.
Yeah, that was still in the testing phase, and once I have my own VGA is a really easy signal to play with. With the colors and stuff, you can switch that around.
Okay.
But I got to give my hats off to the guys who did the proper CoCo VGA.
Yeah, Brendan.
That's really well done.
Yes.
Like, I'm hacking. I'll admit
Okay.
this is all hacking. I'm not looking at the books. I'm just like playing with the wires and seeing what I get. That's my hobby. You know?
That's cool.
Speaking of phase, that picture you're showing now has the artifact in the opposite phase. You had the purple and green instead of the red and blue.
Yeah, let's say a quick hello to Alexander Wallace, our friend in Mexico. Viva la Mexico. Alexander's here. He says he's finally getting a chance to see us live. Glad you can make it, Alex. Cool stuff, Mr. Dave. Anything else you got going on there?
No, well, I'm waiting for the chips, and I'm going to get back at this project, and hopefully I'll get my original CoCo 2 back. And but anyway, in the meantime, I'm still working on it. So thanks for letting me share this.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Anybody else had anything they wanted to? L. Curtis Boyle, any update from you, sir?
I'll say that for the end of the news segment.
Okay. Okay, then we'll get. I'll just show real quick 2 things I got, and then we'll get to Erico then. So one of the things that I got from David Ladd last week, which I've now put together, but David sent me the clear case for the CoCo VGA. This is the acrylic.
CoCo SDC.
CoCo SDC, yes. So this is the Tim Lindner original acrylic CoCo SDC case, and it looks pretty cool. And somebody asked, is it easy to get to the buttons? There it is, because there's nothing in the back, right? So it's got plenty of open air ventilation, right? It just looks cool.
Careful with that crystal.
Which crystal?
The silver box.
Okay.
You could think that's a button accidentally.
Oh, okay.
Like totally break it by accidentally.
Okay, we'll be careful with that.
Jobbing that thing.
And then, of course, the other thing I got, which was just a day late and $1 short for last week's show, but I did get my own physical copy of
Nightmare Highway.
Yes, so we do have that, and it's very nice. So that is my project update. And now, Erico, you've been a busy boy. You've been working on all kinds of stuff.
A little bit.
So you now have the floor. If you want to share our screen or just tell us what you've been working on, however you want to do that. You can do it visually or just verbally.
Now I'll share screen.
Okay.
I'll start with these. Let me see here. All right.
Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, my.
This is, I've been modeling a TRS-2 color computer for quite some time now, actually some years, but in a very slow pace. Since I don't own the machine, the curves on the case very difficult to guess. So I've got like a whole bunch of pictures, references. These pictures here probably came from you guys posting on Facebook, so I can get an idea. I've got the original manual blow up image, right?
Right.
And this week I decided got a little bit burned on doing the Outhouse game sound, and I decided to take a pause and see if I could finish this model. And I kind of did, and I started working on rendering pieces.
That is so neat how you can pan through it all.
Yes, it's
look at the detail in this thing.
Yes, it has as much detail as the original schematics, right?
Wow.
And let me see here. This is the scene I'm taking, and let me show you guys the results. Right. First, here you have some of the testing. I had to vectorize this.
Yeah.
Draw this from scratch. Actually, not vectorizing didn't work. I guess you guys saw this mostly on.
That is beautiful. That is a beautiful rendered model right there.
Yeah, it's a little bit in low resolution, but has textures, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And that's why I was asking about this bevel here. Is it black or is it more gray?
And it does have a texture too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the CoCo 2, it is black.
I've got. Oh well.
The great thing about this is you can kind of create the CoCo in your own image at this point. You can make it look how you think it should have looked. If it's something you don't like about it, So.
That's something here.
I like how you've got a wireless power cord there too. That's pretty ingenious.
Yes, it's.
Is that Bluetooth?
Yeah.
Wireless power.
The connection here to Bluetooth. Yeah. But I've made the ports according to what they.
Oh my God, that's so much detail.
So the coils here, So here's some mistakes, right? This was all work in progress.
What software are you using to create this?
Oh, Lightwave. That's this beast here.
Is that an Adobe product?
No, that's a new tech product.
Okay.
From the 90s, from video.
Oh wow, really? Oh, I'm thinking of Lightroom. Yeah,
from the Amiga.
Yep, from the Amiga, exactly.
Oh, look at this clear case.
Yeah, I hope to do an image like this one. But like this, right? Later up. It takes quite some time to do so. So I started with the wireframe pure only.
Oh no, we're getting a little bit of feedback here. I'm going to mute everybody.
Is it from me?
And I'm just going to unmute you, Erico. Okay, go ahead, Erico. Right. You're unmuted.
Hopefully it's not me because I'm not wearing headsets.
No, it was coming through somebody else. That's fine.
And this one here is the very first one. I call it complete, right? It's a 13,000 by 18,000 resolution image.
Oh my goodness!
It should print up to 1.5 meters.
Wow.
Right. This is a 1x1.
Okay. Thing. This is just good old line art, right? So.
Exactly. But I'll first do this line art one. Because it's exactly as the manual is. And then I guess one of our friends here from the community posted a poster right on a green wall.
Yeah, that was Paul Shoemaker.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I thought I'd do this one here, and I finished those lines and numbers a couple of days ago actually. And this is the very first one, but I will do a fillet transparent one too.
Yeah.
And the idea about this illustration is that it should go along with the Outhouse game, so it adds more value to the thing.
Right? Oh, neat.
And hopefully later, I'll just upload this to the repo for free. Right.
That is neat. Yeah, this would make a great poster to be able to print this out in high definition.
Yeah,
frame it.
Should.
I'm gonna have to put this right next to my Shale Teagues and Farrah Fawcett poster, so it's just as pretty.
So this is pretty much done. It's one of it's a side project I took to take a little time off from the Outhouse game. The Outhouse game, last time people said something about if it was an animation or coding. It's actually coded. I use GL Basic, right? It's modern basic implementation here. And I write a lot of games with it. It's it's just a modern basic, right?
Mm-hmm. Is it free?
The Outhouse. Oh, probably costs. Oh, the GL Basic? No,
Yeah.
it's not sure if it's like $50, $60, something like that.
That's reasonable.
But back in the early 2000s, I spent some time looking for an alternative language. And the language I was using before was Amos on the Amiga. And I used to love that kind of basic. And at this time, I had a dark basic. There were a few variations, and I went for this GL basic here, and I've been using it up to today. It's quite old, to tell you the truth, and it works pretty fine.
Okay.
Let me get here. In this case here, let me see if the sound goes through. I'm sure somebody
When
said
there might be a check mark where you can also share audio with wherever you're sharing at from your.
All right, let me just run it. And let's see if sound goes off.
Powered by GL Basic. I love the font.
Yeah, I've got the font from the color computer and made.
And I love how you have that grid. Yeah. Hold on.
Can you hear the sound?
No, I don't hear it.
All right.
You might need to stop sharing and then reshare, possibly. And when you go to when you go to share your screen, there's a little checkbox you can click on that says also share system audio.
All right, because same as system. Let me try. Can you hear it?
No.
All right, I'll just get out and get back again.
Now, how did you get that grid up there where you saw kind of like the outline of all your characters and like even the quad inside there for your semi-graphics? Did you do that yourself with that overlay?
Yeah, it's an overlay.
Okay.
It's if you look here are the files. Here's the data. It's like this, right?
Okay.
Where the pink is transparent, right?
Okay. Okay. So you created that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and it's all scaled perfectly to.
Yeah, like you see here, the fonts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you create those? Because there are fonts out there. Did you have to rebuild those for your system?
No, I think I downloaded from an image with the SG characters and the letters, and I just cut them over and put it into a font 2 and made them. Oh, let me see if I can get the sound because
yeah, I'd like to hear this.
All right, should I stop and do it again? Then?
Yeah, just stop sharing for a second if you want. And then when you go to share, look under advanced or something, and there should be a little check mark that says.
Oh, yes, share computer sound.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see if you guys can you hear this?
Yes, now we hear it.
So it's all fine. And I just had to show you guys the little beginning. But
yes, now we hear it.
It's just an introduction.
I love it.
The speed is going to jerk a bit, as you guys can see it here. I'm not sure my computer can handle. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I'm just trying to read this right now.
All right, it's the speed is probably gonna drop a little bit because I have this whole bunch of stuff going.
That's fine.
The computer. So it's not gonna play 60 frames per second, but it does play. And the thing is that it's
the Outhouse. Oh, this is so awesome.
See, the grid here is just for me to make sure everything is right. Okay?
Yeah.
The final game should be something like this with the black outline.
Nice.
I'll probably leave the ability to turn on the grid, turn the grid on off.
Okay.
So we'll see. And what can I say? It's a reading of the Outhouse game, and I've added 2-player mode. In this case, simultaneously, right? In this, I'll give you guys an example here how it works.
Oh, I like that sound effect. Oh. Nice. Oh, look at the rain. Oh, look at the clouds, or like the color goes down. All right, is this a bad guy?
Yeah.
Is that you moving around?
This is me.
Okay.
That guy's up there. The thing is that the game is starting on wave 9, okay? Because I was testing the second boss, right?
Oh, I love the sound effects you got. Oh, man. There's the runners. You got 2 runners.
And whenever you shoot, the game freezes because there's a lot of sound, right?
Yeah.
So it gives it pause. Let me see if I can get to the military guys. I guess get to see one of the bosses.
And this looks, you have this set up where it's doing. Ouch, that's loud.
Sorry.
This is doing everything that semi-graphics could do. You're not cheating at all here, right?
Nope. If I pause here by some ways, you can take a look at the grid position.
Yeah, because with the grid, everything falls into that quad of what an SG character would look like.
And I'm pretty confident this is SG correct, right?
Yeah, it looks like it.
And this is it.
I love the sound effects. They're very Coco-y sound effects.
Yeah, I've got from that file. I've got from the file you guys played last. All right.
Inverted fonts and everything.
Yeah, of course. And this is it. It's I'm still putting some pieces here and there. Within my games, the files are usually open, right? So everybody can take a look at them, change them.
Oh,
this
neat.
is how they are originally.
Okay.
There's something that goes into the game that the game is rendered at originally at a very low resolution, something like 60. The SG resolution, like 64 by 32. Then it gets scaled to the full screen resolution Color Computer can do, so I can paste the fonts, right? Because the fonts have pixels, small pixels, right?
Okay, they're in a higher resolution, so you render it in low. The game gets rendered in low resolution. You zoom it up, and then you put the fonts on.
Yeah, and then I scale to whatever monitor, full screen, whatever people want. But it's this. You've got all the pieces of.
That is so cool. It's taking a Coco inspired game, and it still looks like a Coco game, but it's playing now on a modern computer.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to spoil it I don't want to spoil it more to you guys, because when I get that done, hopefully I can send some of you guys a version so you guys can play it online or something like that.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Yeah.
And it's better than me playing, right? It's more I get a chance to see the reaction of people. But it's pretty much that. I just need to organize the waves now. Who's coming within the 15 waves? We got 2 bosses. That batch you guys saw, the military guys and the Chudu thing. And let me see, there's something more. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial break and come back, but do we have a few more people who want to share something, an update they want to share before we get to news and GameON?
Oh, just let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
The game currently doesn't have music, right? And whenever the game plays complex sounds, it freezes.
Okay.
So
is that on purpose?
Yeah. So it kind of looks like a color computer. Not
right.
Computer needs to freeze, right?
Right.
But I would like to. I was trying to get that into the gameplay so that the freeze becomes something dramatic and that you can take use of it, because the screen gets really crowded.
Okay.
And let me see.
Let me ask you this. So in this GL Basic, how is it, without getting into too much of a technical discussion, how are you handling sprites and foreground and background and all that kind of stuff?
For example, sprites is something like a command like load sprite or load sprite animation.
Okay.
Just type that load sprite animation and you put the file name, and it's like you have sprite number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is that built into the language, or is that a routine you created?
It's built into the language.
Okay, so this is a basic that supports sprites.
Exactly. It's geared towards game making.
Okay.
So
okay.
There's all the commands, the kind of things you would see on Amos back in the days is what you see there now.
Okay. That's cool.
I forgot. Now, this is what I wanted to say. The game currently doesn't have music.
Okay.
And I was thinking about adding some, some short music, like a few notes on some places. And I tried to do some of the play command, right, on a real CoCo.
Yeah.
But this weekend, yesterday, I was thinking that we got so many talented musicians here in the community. Maybe somebody would like to do music for it. I'll be glad to work together.
How do you feel about the music being played on a ukulele?
Well, you gotta use it.
Are you offering Jason services?
It would be kind of cool to now. So I'm assuming with this GL Basic, it has the ability to play background music if you wanted to. Even though the CoCo couldn't, you could play a background.
Yeah,
and it could be like a WAV file or an MP3 or something else.
I'm going for WAV files for quality.
So it would be kind of cool to record music that was generated on the CoCo, so it sounds like a CoCo generated music. Have that as a WAV file, and then have that play in the background. And because everything about this is kind of a little bit of a cheatery because it's not really running on a CoCo. But if it all looked and sounded like, and it was literally generated all from CoCo stuff, it's kind of cool to put all those elements together. I think that would be kind of cool to have some of that old sounding, like Sea Dragon-ish 4-voice organy music as the background music playing in this game.
Exactly, and I've heard some people in the community doing it.
Yeah,
music that's truly really color computer music. Something like the Shock Trooper.
Oh yeah,
music and all
that.
If I could get to something like that, it would enrich the experience.
Oh, right? Absolutely. Well, there's a handful on the panel right now that have musical abilities to varying degrees. I'm not one of them. But yeah, so between who's here now and putting out the request on Facebook, hopefully you'll get some people who want to hook a brother up, right? Make some.
Just for that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool. Thanks for giving us a little peek there. All right, we're going to take a brief commercial break, and then we will be back. And if we got a few more updates, I'm happy to share that. Let me know. And you guys, if you want to tell me during the commercial if there's something you guys want to share. And then we're going to get into some news and some GameON. So for our commercial break right now, I think we need... What do we need right now? I'm trying to see what we want to do here. I don't know. I'm torn between Fletcher and I don't know. How about CoCoDo? It's been a while since we've heard the CoCoDo commercial. All right. So we'll be back after a little CoCoDo.
CoCoTALK will return after these messages.
CoCo2, c'est le coq champignon, des micros et dans le pion. Pour le jeu, il n'y a pas d'attente, les études, c'est pas bizarre. L'expansion, il a ça, les commandes, tu vas voir ça. Notre CoCo est contrôlable, pour tes cours, c'est bien serviable. CoCo2 de Radio Chaton, l'affaire est dans le sac.
Un ordinateur couleur qui a de la personnalité. Le CoCo2 de Radio Shack. En solde pour Noël à partir de 149,95.
CoCo2 de Radio Chaton, l'affaire est dans le sac, c'est toi et CoCo2.
And now, CoCo Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. If you're using your color computer in Quebec and it stops working, is it now a CoCo won't do?
Hi, Ron Delvaux, Timberman, CoCo Fest, CoCoTALK.
In a world where RGB produces black and white video, one cable can make a difference. Switcheroo. CoCo3ScartCable.com.
Hey, have you got your CoCo 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Radio Shack's store-wide manager's red tag sale is on now. We've slashed prices 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. Save on famous Radio Shack hi-fi, car stereo, radios, toys, TV games, calculators, walkie-talkies, and CB radios. Look for the big red tag. Save like never before on these and literally hundreds of red tag specials. Hurry into Radio Shack today.
Hi, this is Randy Kindig of the Floppy Days podcast. I just love me some CoCo, and nobody covers it better than Steve Strobridge. You're listening to CoCoTALK.
All right. Well, you no truer words have ever been spoken. And I do apologize for this, but I did not cue this up. We do have a brand new CoCo Thought, so we're going to do it live, and I'm just going to go ahead and play it for you right now, thanks to the deep thoughts, the deep thinking of Samuel Gimes. So this is the world premiere of CoCo Thoughts number 30.
And now, CoCo Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. I was trying to make some copies of discs, but the garden weasel kept tearing the magnetic media.
Curse you, garden weasel.
For F's sake.
Oh, curse you, garden weasel. All right. Well, so Darren has been working on a project. So in addition to making music, he's also made some color computer games back in the day. And fellow Australian Bryza has been typing some of those in and bringing some of those things to life. So what's been going on? And you going to share this, Darren, or you going to anything you want to screen share or?
No screen share as such. I just thought I would talk about just really quickly how amazing it was. That program Frogmaster was vaporware for me. I knew that it was in a magazine back in the 80s, but I didn't have a copy of it, and I've tried to. I could never figure out which year or issue it was in. And then Brian just types it in randomly, and I'm going, sends it out and going back through it. There were some mistakes, and I couldn't work out. It was just real amazing, kind of trying to go back to that time when I was 15 and figuring out what those mistakes were, and finally got the game running. And it was pretty cool. It was really great of him to do that. And now I'm just working on, fixing a few things. I know I must have written it on a CoCo 3, but I wrote it for CoCo 2 to be compatible with that. But I've noticed that people had a few problems with CoCo 3 tokens. I think it must have been the joystick button. I must have used the button command. So I'm fixing that using Peaks.
Okay.
To take care of that. And then the other thing I want to do is port it across to the MC10, because it really would lend itself to that as well. So and it was cool. It was cool seeing how I created sound effects using the play command. Just doing really, changing the rate, the duration of the notes to be really short, and then creating random sound effects. So yeah, had a lot of fun with that. Still working on that. So I'll release a final version of it as soon as it's done, kind of thing.
And what are you developing with right now? I'm assuming you're going to use an emulator or something, or? No,
I'm doing it all on real hardware.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, I've got the MC10. I've got my CoCo 3 set up in the studio. I've got an old CoCo 2 somewhere as well, so I'll pull that out and make sure it all works properly, so that it can be a complete cross-platform game.
Neat.
And the only other thing I'd say is, while I've been working on Blue Monday, I've been using CoCo Midi Pro, which and one of the MIDI packs. It's such a great program. Like, it's just amazing how powerful that software package is. So I've kind of learnt to use it quite thoroughly. So if anybody's having any challenges with it, it is a bit tricky to get configured, but once you kind of know your way around it, you can pretty much do anything with MIDI that you could think of. Really good piece of software.
Neat. That's another thing that I missed out on in the CoCo days was MIDI. I got into MIDI on the PC, still kind of in DOSy times, but yeah, cool stuff.
So I will release the MIDI file of Blue Monday as well when it's finished. So theoretically, you could load it into any MIDI program to play it back, as long as you had a multi-timbral sound module, like the old Roland MT32s or a Yamaha card, or you could probably get it going on a Yamaha sound card as well. But yeah, you guys would be able to play it back. It won't sound the same, obviously, but with a bit of tweaking, you could get it to sound pretty close.
Yeah. Would you do like an MP3 version too, so we could hear it as you produce
100%.
it?
Yeah, I'll release the video, so we might do that next week. I'll create a YouTube video that you can play back, and I'll do an MP3 version and a MIDI file.
Neat. Cool. Who else had anything else they wanted to share? Any other project apps? Is Terry Steggy? You have more to share? Haven't you sucked up enough airtime this week?
No, I just had a question for Erico.
Oh, okay.
On your 3D rendering, you were using, I think you said Lightwave?
Yep.
Is there any way you can export that as an STL file?
STL with OBJ, right?
Yeah.
Object with an STL. Yes, there is.
I was just kind of curious if you'd be interested in sharing that. That would be something we could 3D print just to make a small version of that. That'd be kind of cool.
It's something to try. The thing is, the best way to export something from Lightwave would be the object file, the one you said, a colada file.
Okay.
Or maybe an FBX, right? But the colada and the object, the OBJ with STL, are pretty much the most common ones to use on different packages. The thing is that for that, I would have to have modeled the thing with quads, so I can control the points and polygons, which I didn't. And then there's a lot of things that happens on that model that is internal to Lightwave. So to get that object outside, I'm going to have to do a little work, right? It's not going to come out perfect. And most likely, it's not the perfect thing for printing, right? Because printing, you have to model the polygons in a certain way, which is not that case. But yes, I will eventually come out to change the model into an object and a colada file, and then release to the people. Probably upload to the repo or something like that.
Oh, very cool.
Well,
Well, cool. Awesome model. Great job.
Well, the thing that I was thinking of when you showed that one picture where you had like kind of the clear case, it reminded me of, do you guys remember the Visible V8, the Visible engine where you had the clear model and you could see all the pistons moving inside it and stuff, like those science things? It'd be so cool to have like a visible CoCo and maybe even have little LED lights on different things where you can kind of see things happening as the CPU blinking and the RAM is blinking and, things like that. That would be kind of cool, even if it's not functional, if it's just visual, to have, like a little mini scale CoCo in a clear case with different activity lights inside it. That'd be a really cool project to make.
Great. I hope to be able to create this file you guys had about, what's that, Terry? I hope to create this file, Terry, so I can upload it to, what's the name again? The Sketchfab. It's that site that has, it's like YouTube, but it displays 3D models. On a Discord channel, I've sent links for two small computers I did the very same thing some years ago. Hopefully I can get this color computer model into the same, into the same system. So whenever somebody is having a show, something related to the color computer, you can display that on screen And if you guys saw that on Discord, I think it looks really neat. That's one of the objectives. I want to get that object there, right? Other than releasing it for people.
Yeah, that is so cool. It's like if you can think it, you can make it almost to the point. Anything you can imagine, we can create virtually, create this 3D model in a computer, and then that can become many things. It can become a 2-dimensional print on paper. It could potentially be a 3-dimensional print and something tangible.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing how this model would score on a 3D printer.
Yeah.
I don't believe it would come out fine, but then I know nothing about 3D printing.
Yeah, I don't know if Curtis, if you got in the news, but Ed Snyder recently showed a picture of something where he's creating like an MC10 reproduction that looks like it might be 3D printed.
That's nice.
So
no, I probably missed that because I was rushing trying to get news
Yeah.
ready at all. So if you have that one, feel free to throw it up.
Nah. Anybody else have any questions for the panel or anything else you want to share before we go on to news? Anyone? Bueller? Okay, Rob Inman. Everything good with you there? Ron, are you still trapped on the alien homeworld from Gunstar, or have you been released? And you are muted, Rob. Rob, do you copy? Okay.
Yes, you had locked my mute.
Ah.
I could not unmute. Said the host had muted me. I am no longer trapped on the alien homeworld. I am trapped in Ease of Use Beta 5.
Ah.
Which, you will see here shortly.
Okay. Excellent. Eddie Serbinsky, who has joined us.
Hello.
How are you, Eddie?
I'm fine. Glad to see you again.
Yeah.
And the thing I can show today is my own maple syrup.
Ah.
So.
That's good stuff. Do you just drink it out of the bottle?
Well, I put it in my coffee.
Okay.
And I made some for my daughters for Easter. So.
Nice.
But I have one tap. So
okay,
it's still only one tap. It produces a lot.
Okay, have you done the frozen maple with the stick in the snow, or you cut it out and you make little maple chews?
Not enough for that yet. But,
okay.
Yes.
Those remind me of like the sugar daddies. You guys remember the sugar daddies? That stuff on the stick you could chew on. That frozen maple on the stick kind of reminds me of that.
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
Cool stuff. I thought all Canadians bled maple, anyways. So. It was just a Canadian thing. So.
Yeah.
Maple syrup and moosehead beer is what.
Tim Hortons coffee.
Yes, Tim Hortons coffee. All right. Well, this has been a good show so far. Thanks everybody for being here. We've got some guests. It's always nice to have some new faces to the panel and hear about some different things going on that we're not always familiar with. So that's good stuff. It is now time to get to one of the most favorite parts of this show right now. This is United Nations in action. This is where we get our cheap Canadian labor going on here. And our resident anchor and host, L. Curtis Boyle, is going to cover news for us as soon as I do this very polished, well-produced graphical intro. So hold the line.
From around the world, what you need to know. Get caught up on News with L. Curtis Boyle.
And now a Muppet News Flash.
All right.
I thought you were going to play the Toto Hold the Line song. I was getting rocked up for it.
L. Curtis Boyle, and I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone and just unmute L. Curtis. Because we're getting a little bit of squeaky noise there. Where the hell did you go, L. Curtis? Now I need to unmute you. Okay, L. Curtis Boyle, you have the floor. We are ready for news, sir.
Okay, not too much since we did the massive catch-up last week. That lasted, I think, until just about yesterday. So I've only got a few stories this time, and same with the Game On segment 2. So first one up is Henry Reitfeld, who's been quite active lately, especially since he joined Discord. And he put up a video here showing his VHD image patch to work with the Sidekick menu from VCC. I was hoping maybe he'd be around in Discord to maybe comment on it too, but...
Yeah, it looks a lot like the CoCo SDC, and the CoCo SDC's interface basically came from this Sidekick program, right? So,
Yeah, and this is doing his numbered hard drive images that are logged in, so you get your virtual drives.
Okay.
So he just basically shows that it's loading. So basically, he's able to run on a non-SCC, like from an IDE or something like that. You can actually run with your hard drive images through HDB DOS.
Okay.
Basically, duplicating the stuff from the SDC Explorer.
And we should mention that CoCoTALK does not condone or endorse the illegal copying or distributing of software. So make sure all of the software you have, you legitimately obtain.
Yeah. And he's got a ton of the original stuff too, so I'm fairly certain that's fine in this case.
Cool stuff.
Is Alan Huffman still on the panel?
He might be muted, but he can unmute himself if he's there.
Yes, I am. If I can figure out where the screen went.
You had a really interesting article here, and I wanted to have you discuss this in a little bit of detail. It's you've been doing these series of articles on how to optimize BASIC, color BASIC.
Whenever possible, we're talking about optimizations. Painstaking detail is always preferred because I love to have my head explode.
And Alan's perfect at that. So, but he did some stuff here on the if-thens, and I mean, he discovered a technique that I didn't know either that makes a fairly large difference in speed here. Normally you do the, if something, then blah, 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 just because it's easy to follow. But he discovered that if you do if, then, as you can see, I don't know if the highlighting's showing up on your screen there, but
yeah,
that chunk there, if you do that, it's loads faster. In fact, if you have like nested ones where you're doing multiple comparisons, it can be several times faster. So Alan, take it away from any more details and anything you've discovered since
Well,
writing
all
the
I
article.
wanted to say is this came from YouTube showing me a video called 8-Bit Show and Tell, which is a Commodore guy. And one of his videos, he was doing the same type of basic benchmarking on the Commodore that I was doing. And so it makes me feel a little better I'm not the only one. But this was something that they contacted him about because there was a program listing in a 1980s Commodore magazine that said, if variable is this, then if variable is this. And they said, why did they do that? So he benchmarked it and showed why. So that's where it comes from. And it's just that if you are going to be comparing X and Y, it's better to do it with 2 steps than to combine them together. Because when it combines them together, BASIC walks through all your comparisons and then combines them and does who knows what it's doing. But that was just a little tip, and it's going to change how I write if statements forever because it's so much faster.
So explain it to me. I know it's here on the screen, but give me an example of just, a simple...
Okay, say you're testing to see if a ball is within a screen, an X coordinate of an object. And you might say if X is greater than 1, and X is less than 32, then it's a valid position. Well, when it does that, X is less than 1 gets turned into either a 0 or a -1. It's a mathematical true-false comparison.
Okay.
Then the next step, X is less than 32, turns into a -1 or a 0, a mathematical condition. In the middle, you have the word and. And it appears to be doing a mathematical and. Like if you said 255 and 32, you'd get like some kind of mathematical bit answer. So it appears that when BASIC sees multiple and statements or statements, it's taking all your values to produce a result. Like if you wanted to or and 3 values together, you'd say 15 and 5 and 4, and you'd get a number. It's almost as if BASIC is going through and taking all your comparisons, turning them into 0s or 1s, anding or oring them all together, then treating that as the final result. And when you do it this new way, it can stop checking immediately. It doesn't need all the answers. You say if X is less than 1, then. Well, if X is not less than 1, or greater than 1, sorry, it can just stop right there. It doesn't need to continue on the line. But when you do it the other way, if X is greater than 1 and X is less than 32.
Okay, so using the word and is basically slowing you down.
Yep, and or. This is a way to do that without the penalty from doing that.
Okay, so for example here, if we're going to do this again, so if X is greater than 0, meaning it's on the screen, then if X is less than 33, meaning it's not off the screen. Right. So instead of saying if X is greater than 1 and X is less than 33, you could just say if X is greater than 0, then if X is less than 33. Okay, I get it.
And that's it. Significant speed improvement.
The problem with the and is it has to do all of the tests, whether they're relevant or not.
Yes, it has to.
Right. The chain diffs, if it fails, there's no reason to go on. And so it just moves on.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is across all Microsoft basics, Apple II, Commodore. And I
and
believe
in this particular instance here, I mean, Alan did a speed test of running it 1,000 times, just doing, a single double comparison to do it. And it actually cut the time in half.
Okay.
See, that's a concept. Oh, sorry.
And then you did a more massive one a little bit later here, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I always try to do a stupid thing to show how much worse the worst case. So that was my stupid thing.
You can ask David Ladd for any examples that he comes up with.
Yeah.
That's a concept in computer science called lazy evaluation, where it will stop as soon as it knows what the Boolean results will be.
Yeah, if at least one of the results is false, then just don't bother checking the rest.
Right. And that actually affects the way you have to write programs, because, for example, if you're reading from file, you can say, if end of file, like if you have cases where you don't want them all to execute, it affects the way you have to write your code.
Right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there. He says.
It does generate more tokens, right? The line gets bigger.
Yes, the line will get bigger. But if you notice, if G equals 1, then if, as opposed to if G equals 1 and whatever. Yeah, so it's 1 token extra each time you do that.
Very little.
So basically,
I didn't even mention that. I didn't even take that into consideration. But that would be the trade-off.
You'll save
speed
time
versus size.
You'll save time anytime the first condition is false, basically.
Or the second or the third, if you're doing one of these multi-cascade ones like shown here. I mean, as soon as it hits the first false one, it's out of there.
Yeah.
Now, what I haven't done is compared if all the conditions are met, what's the, and it gets all the way to the end of the line, what's the speed difference? So I may have to do a follow-up, since this has generated so many comments on Facebook.
Yeah, and so far the speed is ridiculously faster.
Well, then you can get into where you order them by the probability of them being true, right? You want your ones that are most likely to be true, false.
Oh, sure.
False. You want the ones that are most likely.
Yeah, you want to exit as quick
first.
as you can if you know it's going to be false. So you'll bias your if-thens in the order that you're going to get out of that if-then construct.
The problem is with the ands or the ors, it's always the worst. Well, ands, it's always the worst case. Whereas when you change them, there's, it depends. Now, if there's some things happening more often than others, you might want to, prioritize them first so it exits sooner if they don't match.
Yeah. Like this one extreme example here that Alan did, where he did 10 conditions all in a row here. It actually is like 7 to 8 times faster, which is a pretty big difference. So anyway, I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
And you're right. It has generated a hell of a lot of comments. So.
Well, it's always painful when we realize we've been doing something the wrong way our entire career with BASIC.
The wrong way as it was explained to us in the manual.
Yeah.
So the right way is now the wrong way. So.
Yeah, and I guess way it looks so wrong to me, but I'm a convert.
Yeah, I guess it too. I mean, back in the days when the original Color Basic manual and the original Microsoft Basics come out, we had machines with 4, 5, 16K. So the method, the old way using AND is actually smaller code-wise. So maybe that's the reason they biased it, because you would run out of room if you did it this way. But as machines have gotten up to 32, 64K, et cetera, then it's less of an issue if you want speed versus size.
Size. Yep.
That is neat. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even read it all. I just saw you were posting more things on how to speed up interpretive logic, and it already got me thinking of some tweaks I'm going to be putting into Kabam, which is my current project. Not even knowing about this specific tweak, but now you've got me thinking about it too.
And by the way, Stevie, I finally stumbled upon your Alien, what's it called? The game?
The Cosmic Aliens?
Cosmic Aliens blog, and was reading up in that. That's some nice stuff there too. I was enjoying that.
Oh, thanks.
I'm a little late. I'm a little behind.
No, so am I, because I haven't touched it in a year and a half. So
It'd be interesting for you to revisit it with these kind of techniques that Alan's come up
yeah.
with.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I have learned a lot talking to you guys about how interpreters work and optimizing your code for the interpreter. And once you do that, and I think Erico made me think of this. And when I was going through that interview with Terry Steen, he's talking about future me talking to past me, and what I've done differently and stuff. So you always think about that. And if there's ways you can tweak your own, part of it is optimizing the way you think about how you do things as a human, and then you apply that to optimizing your code. to have it go for the interpreter, you know. So it's really cool to continuously evolve your thought process in these things, you know.
Alan, you were going to say something, or?
Well, you know, I am going through this in an extreme way right now because the very oldest computer programs I wrote, the very first ones I ever wrote on my Commodore VIC-20, I've now started a series where I'm pulling them apart. I figured out how to get the source code out of them. Thanks to the internet, I can look up what all the pokes and peaks mean, and I'm kind of walking back through it trying to figure out how it works because I have a mystery, something I did in 1982. And I do not understand how I made it happen. So I've got a multi-part series on that as I dissect it and try to figure out how the hell I pulled this off. I must have read it in a magazine and just typed in the commands and did it. And I'm still struggling to recreate it now, even with the entire internet as my resource.
Wow.
Gotta have to find the magazine, I guess.
Wait till you turn 65.
Also, if future me is talking to past me, then you've been in isolation for too long. I should just mention that. So. It's fascinating, and keep us posted on that, Alan, and any other basic.
I forgot who was I talking to. Brian Weasler. Brian, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
You and I were talking about something, and you mentioned Alan's name. What were you and I talking about? Do you remember? Because Alan's here. Was there anything you wanted to ask him, or?
No, it could be an off the air thing. It was something I was gonna look at meeting up with him sometime when I'm in Des Moines.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay,
yeah.
gotcha. I just remember his name came up when we were chatting, and in a good way, Alan. So, Alan, you know what? Something else I wanted. Are you familiar with the game The Witcher, Alan?
No, I've seen references to it, but I don't know what it is.
Have you seen the move that's now on Netflix?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Okay. Well, there's a character in The Witcher, at least in the video game. His name is Dandelion, and he's a bard. And he's very medieval timesy, and he's got the goatee and stuff. So this video game character reminds me a lot of you. You know, he's a very.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, and I know you hear the name Dandelion, and it sounds a little emasculating, but no, he's a ladies' man. So
well, when my costume at the Renaissance festivals has yellow tights, so I'm sure I can relate.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw this character in the game, I'm like, my God, this is Alan Huffman. So cool stuff. Yeah, I love this kind of stuff. Thanks for doing it, Alan.
I did
Thanks
have
for all
one
the
quick
research
question.
too, because that's a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
Brian.
a quick question. So we're talking about BASIC, but with not being familiar with assembly, would things like this translate into assembly language as well, or does assembly handle these type of things?
You wouldn't code it this way in assembly because you would intentionally be doing the instructions, so you would know that this was silly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, you can write sloppy assembly code that will duplicate the way BASIC does it with the end, but
James Different says we aren't doing it the wrong way. BASIC is doing it the wrong way.
I still think it might have been the size versus speed thing, because back in the day, we were dealing with really small amounts of RAM in these early computers, and Microsoft wrote their BASIC, from the Altair originally, and then just kept porting it all over the place. So I suspect that's part of the reason they were trying to save space as much as possible.
And the size for BASIC.
I think it's also the syntax. It's probably clearer as a language to use and.
Right.
It's more logical to have if that and that do that rather than two ifs in there, It looks sloppy from a basic language point of view.
Right.
But it's faster, obviously.
Right.
Looks a little iffy to me.
Yeah, we were talking about this in Discord too, like the use of rems and how rems can slow it down. Don't have your rem in the main, like never go to a line with a rem, have it somewhere else where it's not getting interpreted. And all these little tips I'm gleaning.
Well, it's like the let command. Let A equals 0. That was clear. That was the syntax. But you don't need to use let.
Right. It's A equals 0.
Yeah, but as a syntax, let and
well, somebody brought up the point too. You don't even need to use the word rem. If you just type a line,
single quote.
No, not even that. Just type a line that says this code is going to do whatever, and then never execute that.
And never
line.
execute it.
No, that's right.
That's true. Don't even put the word rem in there where it never gets tokenized. Right.
And then you save a
it's
byte.
just there.
Yeah.
Well,
Rick Ulland, did you have a comment too? Because I noticed you started to pipe up there for a sec.
I was just saying that the space you had for the interpreter was limited, so leave out some of the fine things to fit it in an 8K ROM.
Yeah.
I love the email you sent too, Rick. He's like, I caught one of your shows and I decided you needed another old guy with a beard on the panels.
Welcome to the club.
Yes. That's cool.
You mean I don't have to shave every week? Oh, darn.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Thanks, Alan.
Yep. Thanks. That's a great series of articles you've been doing.
My pleasure.
And is Fred still on the panel today too? Because he can probably comment on this next bit.
I don't know if Fred was here. Erico was here. I don't think Fred was on the panel, but another Brazilian. Was Fred on the panel? I don't remember. I don't see his name in the list right now.
Okay. Well, at any rate, he had. We did a coverage of the Super Basic that Jerry Stratton was doing, which is basically taking a more modern style language and then converting it to Color Basic. And I guess Fred mentioned that he did one called CoCo Basic Dignified. Actually, a while ago, he just forgot to put the links up for it. So this year, he's got the actual links. He's got this stuff on the Google Drive if you want to get it, and the Sublime tools are required for it. And see if this zooms up okay.
Yeah, some interesting discussions have ensued from this, and so the code on the left actually looks a little bit more modern. There's no line numbers.
Yeah, it's a bit closer to Color Basic syntax than I think the Super Basic was, though it's not completely modern. It's still using some keywords from Color Basic, so it's a bit easier to translate in your head if you're used to Color Basic.
All right, so you have the dignified view, and then you've got the classic view where it actually converts it into line numbers. Yeah, we were having a conversation, it was last night, about variable names. I forgot who was talking to who, but we started to become a pissing contest about trying to track your. Oh, it was Nick, right? Nick Marotti. You're talking about your variable names for your project, right? So
yeah, it was me and Mr. Allen, and it was a well-spirited discussion that we had.
Yes, we're really getting into variable names and how to keep track of them.
And by well-spirited, you mean argumentative? Or?
and once again, I was right, and the other party was wrong.
Well, just like you are with buzzard bait, right?
Except where you were wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong in buzzard bait too, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're getting some feedback somewhere. It's, Alan,
Fred wants
Robert,
to...
it's you. You're echoing. Go ahead.
Fred's wanting to come into the meeting here.
Frederic.
Oh, let him in, then he can comment on it too. Then.
Okay, trying to get him in. I can't. Here he goes. He's in. Fred, you're in.
Still muted?
Hi guys. No, just
there you go.
Go ahead, Fred.
Are you listening?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, right now I just come I was listening to you, so any question you ask me, but Curtis, go on. You saw the rule thing?
Well, I was going to ask you, like you mentioned on your post there that you actually did this a while ago. How long ago did you have this done?
I think I've done this last year. I think I have done this.
We lost your audio, Fred. You got real quiet on us.
Yeah,
Oh, you're back, I think.
I'm back.
Yeah, a bit of a connection problem, I think.
I have a connection problem, guys. I'm listening myself.
Well, turn down the volume of what you're listening to so you can just hear us in Zoom.
I'm using headphones.
Okay.
Let me do one thing.
Hey, Fred. So, Erico, are you still here? Erico's not here.
Okay. I quit the Facebook stream. Let's see.
Okay. Now we can hear you better.
Yeah. I quit the Facebook stream. So I did it last year. I think beginning of last year. I did it for the MSX. There's another system I had. I was a little older when I had the MSX, so I used to program a lot more in there. But as I told you before, I think I love the CoCo, and I haven't found a CoCo community before you guys. When I found you, I had to port the things I had done to the MSX to the CoCo, because I think I love the CoCo even more.
Well, MSX had Microsoft Basic, right? MS stood for Microsoft. It just was on a Z80 processor, but it was a similar BASIC to Extended BASIC, right?
Very similar. So similar, in fact, that the MSX version of Basic Dignified worked out of the box on the CoCo.
Cool.
Wow. Literal drag and drop.
Yeah, drag and drop. I have to do anything.
That's cool.
what I did was I just removed the things that were there for the MSX that wasn't needed, like some instructions like locate, and in the MSX you position the text on the screen by using locate X and Y.
Okay, that's similar to
comma,
like GW
print.
Basic. Yeah, that's
And I did something that you didn't have to write locate X and Y, comma, print. You just put a question mark at, like
print,
the CoCo.
Yeah, print at. Yeah.
Print at.
So this is just for the CoCo 1 and 2 Basic then, because the CoCo 3 does have some commands like that.
Yeah. I have no familiarity with the CoCo 3. I went to I can't remember which page I went, but I went to a CoCo Basic page to get the commands to do the highlight you are seeing here. And I don't know if
the syntax highlighting.
The syntax highlight, yeah. I went to a CoCo page that listed the commands. I don't know if it was for 2 or 3. I have zero knowledge of CoCo 3. I just had the CoCo 2. But as I said, that's a work in progress. And I want to do some things like, for instance, print at on the CoCo. I want to do something similar to the MSX, so you don't have to do the calculations.
Just locate the X and Y. Yeah.
Yeah, you just print at and X and Y, and it will translate when you convert.
Yeah, because if you want to expand it to do a CoCo 3 later on, I think some of your MSX code you took out probably just has to pop back in with maybe some tweaking.
Yeah, sure. Of course, I'll just. It's very beginning. The CoCo version is very beginning. That's why I don't even have a GitHub yet, because I started and I stopped when this whole pandemic thing happens. Everything I had in the back burner started to come to the front, and I have 1,000 of projects right now. So it kind of slowed down the work on CoCo Dignified. But sure, the CoCo trace sure have to be there. Like the MSX2 that I didn't have is on the MXS version.
Okay. Also, if you can stick around to the very next story is one of yours too, so we can have you comment on that right afterwards.
Okay, sure.
Cool. Hey, by the way, Fred, do you know Erico?
Erico, no, I know him on the group, right?
Okay, so I just figured he's also in Brazil, so it's kind of like, Nick Marentes is in Australia, so everybody is his neighbor. Is Erico your neighbor too? So everybody in Brazil knows everybody, right? So
yeah, sure. Yeah, I knew another guy. I was in a chat with another guy from the group, and you are from? I'm from Brazil and from Recife, and I was like, hey, come on, I'm from São Paulo. Come on, man. Let's talk in Portuguese.
Okay, well, that's cool you got that project, and we'll definitely keep an eye on it as you progress it. We got a whole bunch of these coming online too. There's even mentioned in the comments about Stephen Fisher's Urbane Basic, which he did a long time ago, which actually I think runs on the CoCo, if I remember correctly. That does something similar to that too. So, okay, the next story is also Fred's. And since he's actually here, I'll just let him explain what this is. And I'll zoom up the picture a bit here.
This is an you guys know about Attract Mode. It's a front end for emulators.
Okay.
So if you have a command line emulator, you can do a front end and you put graphics. And I had a arcade machine at my home where I had a lot of games. I have MAME, CoCo, MSX, and all my systems. And the layout on the arcade machine was different than that. But when I moved, and I have the idea of doing every system use its own layout, as I said, its own kind of. I love the way the older system treats the graphic modes and text modes and the limitations, like the artifact here on the CoCo. I love this, so I want to use that. So I made a theme for Attract Mode for every system. I have ZX81, Odyssey 2, Atari 2600, MSX, Vectrex, and some more. Everyone using their own layout, their own screen layout.
Yeah, so their own fonts native to the old machine back in the day, and the colors that they would have used.
Yeah, I love the artifact color borders you have around the image there, the orange and blue. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I try to use all the limitations the computer has.
Yeah,
I try not to stick to the.
Yeah, even the TRS-80 has got like the P Mode 3 color set, so
Yeah.
it's like the red, yellow, and blue on the green background. It's just like it can't get much more legit than this. So.
And this works with all emulators too. Like you can put this with MAME or VCC or XOR or anything, right?
Yeah, sure. You can use it everywhere. And actually, the font I did it myself. I have also a system in Python to do fonts based on screen dumps of fonts of 8-bit computers. If you guys want to do another CoCo font, you just go there on my GitHub and download the thing. You just provide a screen dump of the font, and how can I say, a string of text matching the position of the characters on the font, and it transforms the screen in the font. It's very simple. If you go there, there's a better explanation there.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
That's how I did this font. I did all the fonts actually
So you basically screen scraped them and bitmapped them and then turned them into fonts.
Yeah. There's a system for that. It's very easy. You have you gotta have a font program that's free. It's out there, and that's it. And so I stripped down that and I did one just for the CoCo and that's what I provided there on the link.
Okay.
And that's a front end that uses just the CoCo portion of that theme.
Cool. And you actually have it available for download, so anybody wants to put that as part of the front end on their emulators, then
yeah, it's right there on the drive, on the Google Drive. You see there is a link on the description. Right there. Yeah, you just download and you go to attract mode. It just drop on the layout folder, and you configure on the setup, and it's all that works. There's the font, the CoCo font's there also. If you want to use for something, the font is there also.
Okay, I noticed that your side thing there that shows the games listed and stuff also has like times played, how many minutes you've wasted on your life playing this game when you should have been doing work, etc. Is that built into your front end, or is that on the particular emulator you're using in this case?
It's the particular emulator. It's from attract mode.
Okay.
I didn't have the amount of times before, but attract mode provided that, and then I use it. It's good to know how many days you spent playing Shock Trooper, for example.
Yeah, because imagine everybody's time's gone up these last few weeks. So
right, and I love how it on the bottom there it says Demolition Derby, Racing, Radio Shack, Tandy Corporation, Color Computer 123, 16K RAM. So you even have like the system specs down there. Yeah.
And if the one who is probably recognized it's Curtis Boyle, stolen straight from his site.
You're utilizing a resource.
That's a very, very good source of resource for.
Absolutely.
As I've told everybody, including the Amigos and stuff too, anything you guys want to take off my site and use and whatever you're doing, go right ahead. No problem.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm one Seas of Use Beta 5 is actually out by the end of this month here. I'm actually going to be switching back to working on the game site because I'm about, 800-900 games behind now, I think, total. So I got to start catching that back up.
Yeah.
Neat.
Cool project. Have Nightmare Highway?
Yes, Nightmare Highway in there.
It will be. I don't even have Popstar, never mind all the new stuff since then. So, and plus there's hundreds and hundreds of old ones I don't have either.
You're 5 years behind.
Well, I'm more than that. I'm probably about 25 years behind. But anyway, thanks for popping on, Fred, and explaining those two stories.
Okay, there, any more from me? I'll just listen to you guys, but I will disconnect from the Zoom. Us. Anything you just call me and I'll hop in right back.
Okay, you're welcome to stay on the panel if you want to. So yeah, cool, very cool.
Okay, next up, Rick Bagel set up his CoCo One, and now this is kind of fun. He's got VIP Terminal running on it, which is a terminal program. Okay. He's got it linked up at 1200 baud to his Linux machine at home, which is then SSHing into his work machine. So he's actually using his CoCo to log into his work. Which brings back great memories of me and Bill doing this back in the day.
It's a CoCo conduit.
Yeah.
Now, was this using looks like it's black and white, so this was like a P Mode 4 graphical font? thing?
Yeah. VIP terminal supported, what was it, 42, 51, 64, and 85 character modes.
Oh
depending
my
on
god! How the heck
how
you
readable you
squeeze
want it?
85 characters into that 640?
3 pixel wide characters. If you've seen the high mode of Telewriter 64, that's kind of what it does. It's more of a page layout.
Okay.
Like if you're looking at a graph or something and done textually, I wouldn't use it for trying to actually read anything.
Well, if you have CoCo VGA, it's perfectly clear.
That's true. But back in the day, you wouldn't have. So, but yeah, you're right. Because the VGA really sharpens it up, so you don't get all the weird artifacting if you tell it to stay in black and white mode.
Okay.
I usually use the 51 and the 64 back in the day because 64 was kind of readable. It was 3 pixel wide font, but it had the extra space between the characters, so it didn't just blur together.
Okay.
And 51 was pretty nice. That was what the original Telewriter did.
Okay.
But it was kind of neat to be using an actual CoCo to log into his local machine and then onto his work machine externally and actually doing work from the CoCo.
Yeah, that's neat.
Which is what we used to do back in the day too. So.
Right, and real quick too, I want to say hi to Glenn Hewlett, who was out there. He was in the live chat. Glenn Hewlett.
Hi,
who
Glenn.
Did the
You should join on the
Pac-Man
panel. We haven't heard
transcode.
from you in a while.
Yeah. Good to see you, Glenn, and feel free to join us. The link to the Zoom call is there. There is a password that's related to the processor that goes on the CoCo.
Okay. One more regular news story.
That picture was also available on Show Us Your Color Computer, in case you guys want to look at old machines.
Cool. The next one here, and Brian Weasler kind of showed his versions of some of these as well. This is from Paul Schreiber, selling off all these old things from when he worked at Tandy.
Yeah.
He had a nice, really clear picture of the deluxe 64K color computer badge. So
nice
I thought I wanted to show that.
Nice bubbly badge there. Yeah.
Really makes me wish that more of the circuit boards had survived. I mean, the cases were basically CoCo 1 cases with a different color and different back cutouts for the composite video and stuff. And unfortunately, the keyboard survived, of course, because Brian's got one of those now too. But the actual computer is quite rare.
Curtis.
Yep.
I got a question now. Where would this deluxe 64K color computer badge go on the deluxe computer? Do you have any idea?
Probably similar, like where the TDP 100
TDP,
was,
wasn't
kind
it?
of center, like the TDP did or something.
Yeah, I don't think there was a clear picture of it in the Boise's book there. So I think the prototype that he has doesn't even have the sticker on it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think it was a full size CoCo 1K, so it'd probably be center, like similar where the TDP logo is on a TDP 100.
That's what I suspect as well. I wonder if they put them into a specific landfill, something like they did with the Atari 2600 ET cartridges, and we could just go dig the suckers up, because there was 50,000 made, I know, originally, and then they canceled right at the last minute. Like it was literally on pallets ready to get put together, and that's when they pulled the plug.
Yeah, I just published a picture of the inside of a CoCo 1 from the landfill.
Oh, from the point of view of the CoCo 1.
Yeah. Shameful. People actually threw them away.
Okay, so that's all the regular news I had. I did want to mention, as had been mentioned earlier in the show here, and Rob Inman, did you manage to get a copy downloaded, or did it?
So, Curtis, I have the one for previous in the day. I could not download the last version you sent. So if the version I have right now, which is very fast, will help you, then we can still do the demo.
So I'm having trouble hearing you. You're really quiet.
Yeah, you're very low. I think it's being inside that CM8 is muffling him a little bit.
Stuck in the CM8. Well, I'll turn myself up. Can you hear me now?
That's better. I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I have the copy from previous in the day. What you emailed me is not cooperating. So if that's good enough, then I can demo how fast Rescue on Fractalus is.
Well, we can go through a couple of things here. I did wanted to make sure you actually had it up and running first. So the first thing you'll see is on the G-Shell screen itself here, we've got some extra drives listed.
How about we do this then? If we're getting ready to go to another demo part, how about we take a commercial break and then come back? Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a commercial break, and then what are we going to see after the break? We're going to see some G-Shell demos and some optimizations.
Yeah, just kind of generally going over some of the stuff that will be in the Beta 5 out near the end of this month. I've actually got a list of bugs I've still got to track down, and we've got testers that I just literally sent copies of last night and this morning that hopefully we'll get some feedback, because some of them are on the panel too, and see if they've had a chance to try it out.
Okay, so we are going to go ahead and take a commercial break, and we will be back in about 2.5 minutes with more news and a ease of use teaser on Beta 5 after these words.
We will return after these messages.
CoCoTALK is brought to you in part by Placeblex Dietary Supplement. Placeblex, we think it works, so will you.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
Oh, I remember that Christmas. Dad gave me my first shortwave radio from Radio Shack. What memories. This Christmas, we got our son's Color Computer 3 from Radio Shack. It hooks right up to our TV and was on sale for less than $130. The Color Computer 3 makes learning fun. Jimmy even lets me use it for word process when he isn't playing computer games. Lucky I still got my shortwave.
Save $70 on the sale-priced Color Computer 3, only at Radio Shack.
Hey, this is Bruce Moore, author of Force of Doom, and you're watching the Original Gamer's Stevie Stroke.
Only the bravest souls enter. Only the most cunning return. Defeat innumerable monsters to ransom the king's scepter, stolen by the evil wizard. Your sword, shield, and wits are your only allies. Pray you find a magical inn as your only respite in the forest of doom.
For the tiny color computer 1, 2, and 3.
November 2017, if you dare.
This is Ken Reichert, author of Nightmare Highway.
Nightmare Highway.
And you're experiencing CoCoTALK? Just when you thought it was safe to go back to CoCo Fest.
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
CoCo Fest Edition? Still low resolution, still digital to analog converted sound. More machine language. And basic.
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
Now includes the power of Terry to clear the road ahead.
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
Available as a DVD-ROM with all my past games as an alleged bonus, including my unreleased 4th Rainbow Adventure Contest entry. Unreleased for a reason.
Nightmare Highway. Nightmare Highway.
Get your physical or digital copy at cancanmakeit.com. Now you've really paid too much.
Nick marionettes on electricity.
Crikey! Electricity's a fad. The biggest market is with open flame.
Brought to you by NitrOS9, Ease of Use Edition. Hashtag OS9 Forever.
All right, the biggest supporter of NitrOS9 on the planet, Nick Marionettes.
And let me state that Ken Reichert is obviously the master of self-promotion.
I like Ron Delvo's Radio Shack medical mask he's got going on there.
And Curtis, if you give me 30 seconds, I'll have the new version running on my computer.
Okay. But it wasn't too much changes on the 609, so I'll just kind of run through what's to be expected in it, and there's still bugs getting fixed right now too. So, and I'm sure the testers will find some more. But basically, we installed a bunch of other games. There's a few of them I'm still patching because of some limitations of the way that Tandy had them written originally for the 128K CoCo 3. A lot of them barely ran in 128K because the OS takes a fair bit of room itself. So a lot of them kind of chained between themselves to a shell. When you were done in the game, you wanted to quit to come back to the command prompt, which now that we're running with larger machines with more RAM, what it basically happens is that it'll create an extra shell. So you'll have 2 shells running that window, one on top of the other, which is kind of a mess. So I'm patching some of those. I've patched Rescue and Fractalist. Cronus Rift will be patched for sure. There's a couple others I'm working on. Hopefully I'll have them all done by the end of the month. The other things on there, this has the new super icon editor that both Rob Inman and Nick Marentes have been making all the new icons for the games with. So if you guys want to design icons for your own programs, or if you want to replace the ones, the icon editor's in there, it's quite easy to use. And I'll let Nick and Rob comment on that because they probably use it more than I do these days. There's been a bunch of optimizations, especially for the 6809. I think I've demonstrated a few of them before, like some of the commands like proc and mmap and a few others run literally several times faster than they used to. There's a 6309 version of Rescue and Fractus, which we'll be demonstrating a little bit later here, that is optimized beyond the video I showed last week, which was the 6809 version, which is already 10 to 15% faster than the one you bought at Radio Shack back in the 80s. And the biggest things, though, are G-Shell. Now, G-Shell, I did find out last night I have a bug I got to fix in there because it's screwing up on certain folders. But basically, the biggest changes on G-Shell, one, you can actually have it optionally rename the program, because sometimes, especially like when I get to the Sierra games and get those working, the Sierra games are all called Sierra. You launch the app Sierra no matter what game you're playing. So every icon shows up as saying Sierra is the name of the game, which is kind of silly. So I've added an option where you can add in a pipe and then what you want to call the icon. So if you want to call it KQ3 for King's Quest 3 or LSL for Leisure Suit Larry or Cauldron for Black Cauldron, you can do that. And the biggest change is that G-Shell will actually launch natively VDG-based games. Now, there was hacks in the old days to do this. It would launch another program that then created a VG window. So basically, it was slower and it took a lot of extra memory because it was actually forking multiple programs in a row just to run the program you actually wanted to run. And Bill Noble and I worked on adding a new system call that allows us to do that natively in G-Shell with one system call and then fork the program from there. And that part is working. Now I just got to fix some of the VDG programs to properly handle being in a 512K machine. Though a few of the games back in the day actually were designed properly, like Microscopic Mission and a few others. So looking at the screen here, as before, it has the option for 40 or 80 column. We have it defaulting to 40 because there are quite a few people still running on composite, like John and Aaron at Amigos, for example, running composite. But you can also run 80 if you want to fit more of your icons on the screen at once, as Rob just demoed here. And the first thing you notice here is we've added in an extra hard drive on the left column of drives. Now, that's not in the test I gave everybody right now. The H1 drive has not got anything there, so if you click on it, it's actually to give you an error. Don't click on it. The DD drive is the main drive image we've been doing for every alpha and beta for ease of use up until this point, and we'll continue to do so. But it's also, if somebody wanted to write their own stuff and fiddle around with Basic 09 or C compiler or whatever on their own, every time I released a new beta, it got wiped out because I replaced that drive image. So you had to make sure you backed it all up onto floppies or whatever else. What we'll be doing on beta 5 is we're going to be including a blank 128 meg hard drive image for your stuff, and then you can just save all your stuff on there, and then anytime I do an update, it's not going to wipe it out. You'll be able to keep all your own stuff. So you'll just have to worry about updating the main operating system image.
Good idea.
Sorry?
Good idea.
Yeah, it's long overdue. Now, one thing I will mention as a caveat, I don't know if Walter's embodying some of the other people working on VCC and OVCC will be able to fix this, in the near future. MAME supports 2 hard drives. The SDC supports 2 hard drives. And obviously, if you're running on a real IDE or SCSI or whatever, it'll support 2 hard drives. VCC does not. It only supports a single one. So you'll still have to do the old shenanigans with floppy drive images and stuff there, unfortunately. I'm hoping with OVCC, and Walter actually has been sending me some questions on some other stuff he's working on. I'm hoping that's something they'll be able to update so that VCC can also run 2 hard drives. We'll solve that problem for everybody then. Other than that, like I said, there's some general updates, speed ups. There's the extra stuff in G-Shell, patching some of the games to work under the new environment properly. I've added a couple apps. Alan Huffman, I actually put on as a quick test in the apps I put in. I think it's Joel's did checkbook. Don't bother running it. It's just a checkbook program, but just threw that on there too. So unfortunately, Alan, I was actually going to ask you about this since you're on the show. The documentation I found on the archive is for the disk basic version of it. So obviously it's quite different than what OS9 needs. Did you guys ever have a OS9 manual for Checkbook Plus?
Yes, we did. I'll see if I've got the archive. I uploaded basically all the masters I had to the CoCo archive months back, but I was having them hold off until I had a chance to convert some of them. A lot of them are in weird formats with control codes in there for whatever we used. I don't know what Joel did on his, but worst case is I've got the paper manual that I could scan and make available.
Okay, cool. Because I noticed it used a lot of the same routines your Towel program did, so.
I don't think so. I think that his was homespun.
Oh, okay. Because it has the same functionality like Alt and the letter, pull down a menu, and you can operate the GUI in it either through keyboard or mouse, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, as we keep adding more stuff here, I mean, Nick and Rob have both been pretty busy making tons of icons, and I just threw in one there, but we'll have to make one there. So, like I said, don't bother running it, Rob, but just to mention it's on there. And we'll be adding more. I'm going to be adding like not just games. I'm going to be adding like actual apps and stuff too. Super 8, I think we've demonstrated in the show before. I don't know if we need to know if we need to re-show that or not. Probably not for now. I don't want to take the whole show here. So the main thing, though, of course, is the games. That's where, and we've completely changed the directory structure of games. So if you double click on that, you'll see the first thing here is we're dividing level 1, which is CoCo 1 and 2 games from back in the day, and then level 2 games, which is CoCo 3 stuff. Now, level 1, because of the way they had to do backwards compatibility and the way the CoCo 1 and 2, you only had 64K, so you're combining all of OS9 plus whatever game you were running. They did some things a little bit differently, which is mostly compatible. Not always. I've noticed like Alternate Reality, The City, and Interbank Incident both instantly crash. Cave Walker runs really weird timing-wise. And that's because all 3 of those programs don't do most of their stuff through the OS9 system itself. They actually directly hit the hardware. So they're reprogramming the PIAs and the VDG and the SAM directly. So the operating system doesn't have a clue any of this is going on. Now, the CoCo 1 and 2, those games are big enough that was the only thing you'd ever run at the time because that's all you could fit in 64K, so it wasn't a big deal. On OS9 level 2, on the other hand, where you're trying to run everything else simultaneously and running other windows and shells, it's a really big deal, and it actually causes spectacular crashes, sometimes of the app, sometimes of the entire operating system because we don't have protected memory. So I will probably be pulling 1 or 2 of the ones I have in that directory off until I get them fixed, and some of them look like they're going to take some pretty extensive fixes. So we'll save a level 1 game for the last part of this demo. Just because it also sucks a lot of system memory. When you're running a P mode 4 style game in level 1, that comes out of your system app. Now, if Rob goes to a window, just types SMAP, you can see how little system app we've got left with everything else we've already got running. This is your 64K system process, basically, and you can see we've got 10K free at the moment. Now, for running regular windows and regular shells, that's fine because you can fit quite a few into that. But when you're running the level 1 graphic games, it starts yanking like 6, 7K out at a time. So literally you're limited. If you're running a graphical level 1 game, you can probably only run 1 at a time. You can still leave your other Windows and G shell running, but at that point you're pretty well maxed out. So a big recommendation, which I'll be putting in the docs, is if you're running level 1 graphical games, just run 1 at a time and make sure you exit it cleanly so it returns the memory back before you run anything else. Level 2 games don't have that problem. And level 1 text games don't take that much out of the system RAM, so we can leave that. So if we go to level 2, the next thing we've changed is we've started doing subdirectories by genre. And I think this will just make it easier to find if you're in the mood for an arcade game, if you're in the mood for an adventure game, instead of trying to guess from an icon exactly what it is. I mean, some are self-explanatory, but some of the newer games or original games, you wouldn't have a clue until you actually ran them. And this will probably be expanding in the future. I've had some suggestions that certain games kind of cross genre borders. Like, is Rescue and Fractalus kind of a flight simmy game, or is it more of a strategy game, or is it more like a simulator, or is it an arcade game? Right now I have an arcade, but I'll take suggestions from that, because one thing OS9 has is the ability to cross-link files without wasting disk space duplicating the files. You can tell it, I want this file to appear in this folder and this one, but I only want 1 copy on the disk. And it'll just put a little header that tells, here's where you find the actual file, and they both point to the same thing. So you can save a lot of disk space. We can
it
actually
sounds
have
like a Windows shortcut.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Symbolic link.
Yeah, it's basically just there's a directory sector header, which is 1 sector that contains the name of the file and then the points to where it is. And that's all it's duplicating. The whole rest of the file is just stored once. And I've been using that for development because I was starting to fill up the hard drive with all my, source code listings and everything else too. So I've actually started cross-linking like the defs files, because some of the programs actually need, custom versions where it's not using all of them linked together at the same time, or a custom version of some of them. So some of them I've created separate copies if they're different, but if they're the same, I can just link in the one and not have to duplicate the disk space. So the disk space free is actually a little bit less on this version than it was in the previous one. But I think dsave might blow up with that, so I got to check into that later. Anyway, that's what we've got here. There's some subdivisions too. Now, one of the complaints on G Shell on beta 4 was that the more icons you get into a single directory, the longer it takes to load initially, because basically for every icon for it to display, it has to read two files. It has to read the AF file, which tells it what icon, what the program is, memory requirements, parameters, and the icon itself. So every time it tried to pick one icon up on the screen, it had to open, read, parse, and close two files, the actual AF and the icon file. Now on beta 4, we had 20 some odd games in the games directory. So it was reading 40 files in a row just to display those icons. So until I get a chance to go in and optimize how that whole thing works, one of the reasons for doing this subdivision, besides being able to find the type of game you want to play faster, is that it also speeds up the loads of all of these, because now it's just showing, a few games in each one. And I've also grouped any ones that have their own sets of files that they aren't self-contained in one program, that those will have their own folders so that it keeps it separate, so you know what files belong to what, because that was beginning to become part of a problem where some games, made the same name of a data file they use, yet they're totally incompatible with each other because they're two totally different games, just that the person called it data or whatever. And it was causing problems where if I put them all into the same directory, it would overwrite each other and screw each other up. So I'll be keeping those in separate folders now, which should solve that problem. So we've been gradually going through. That one's a test. The Sierra games do have a bit of a problem. Now, it won't affect too many people, but it will affect some. Back in the early 2000s, Robert Gall did some patches to the Sierra games so that they would run on a 1 meg or 2 meg or 8 meg or, Paul's 64 meg no-can boards properly, because the games were hard-coded to read the MMU, but the MMU only returns accurate bits for 512K. Anything past that, you get random gibberish. So they'd crash. So he patched it to work on the higher ones. Now, when William made the CoCo archive, he discovered that on a 512K machine, if you're running those patch ones, then it crashes when you exit. So he reverted them all back to the 512. Now, I would like to be able to patch it so that everything works on no matter what. And I'm working on doing that. For now, because the newest 2 meg boards, the Triad Plus and the latest version of the Boomerang all let you read back those bits, they actually do work fine on the newer 2 meg machines. Now, if you have the original Boomerang, or if you have the Disto 1 or 2 meg, or if you have any of Paul's no-can boards, they will not work as it currently stands. So I'm going to be working on trying to patch that. And it's the reason I've not put a lot of the Sierra games on here, because I wanted to get that fixed before we go. But this one's on here. If you have one of the newer 2 meg boards, or if you just have 512K, it should work fine. So, and then there's one of the icons that Nick did, for example, there.
All right, help me summarize this whole Sierra memory thing again, because it was a lot of information. It was kind of hard to digest and distill it.
Okay, the versions I've got on there now will work on everything except for the original Disto 1 meg board, the original Disto 2 meg board, any of the no-can boards with more than 512K, and the original version of the Boomerang E2 before it was fixed to do the...
okay, so basically you're providing the unpatched version now, which works properly on the newer high memory boards.
Yeah, because the patch that Robert did, I guess, caused it to screw up on 512K machines, which a lot of people have. So it was kind of like pick one or the other.
Okay.
This is more commonly not a problem. I'm still planning on fixing it so it becomes not a problem on anything.
Right, and so you're going to create a universal patch that patches it for all situations, just not now. So the quick fix is to just put the unpatched versions on this particular...
Which runs on the most of the machines that are currently out there. Yeah.
Okay, I follow.
And otherwise, we've added a few other games in here. There's a scattered, smattering of them. You can kind of take a look and pour through if you want to take a boo at them. A couple others here. I've got that problem where they chain to a shell, so you get 2 shells running like Coronis currently does. But most of them work pretty good. Rescue has been optimized. It's been fixed, so I know exactly what to do in Coronis. I just have to finish the disassembly so I can get it to assemble properly, and then I'll be fixing that. Rescue has got optimizations for the 6809. Like I said, it runs about 10-12% faster than the original one. And the 639, which runs a fair bit faster. Probably, well, Rob, have you had a chance to try it before yet? Or
which one? Rescue and Fractalus?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And well, how much faster than the original version do you think it is?
Are you kidding? It's like instantaneous. It's ridiculously fast. Let me know, when we should double click on this. But
yeah, sure. Fire it up.
Let's see it.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I can't
Is this
even
running
hit
on a
the
solid
keypad.
state hard drive?
Yeah, it uses. I can't remember which joystick port, but
The left port.
yeah, I wish more games had actually done the click to select your joystick rather than hard code it, because there's a couple card games I've got that actually force the high res joystick interface on, even if you don't have one.
Yeah, this is insane. This is wicked fast.
Now, as a constant running side project, there's still more optimizations I can do for the 609. I just did a chunk that had the biggest bang for buck.
Oh, hold on, Curtis. I forgot I wanted to do something in my other. Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm multitasking.
Just hit clear.
Yeah, just hit clear. Oh, now I'm gonna go back to play my game.
Yeah, there's a space bar pause. Some games like Come Guy actually will auto pause when you clear off the window.
That is
and Rob, do you have 2-button
fast.
joysticks there?
I do.
Okay. Because Come Guy would be a good one to show, I think.
Oh, okay.
That is insanely fast.
Can I exit? How do I do that?
Control C.
He's overclocking that 6309, isn't he?
No, I can imagine what's going to run like with a 3 megahertz upgrade from Ed Snyder, though.
Okay, Kim Guy.
You want to turn your volume up too so you can hear the speech.
Okay, I can do that.
And this was one of your icons, isn't it?
It is. Okay, I've never clicked on it before. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't crash. I hate doing live demos.
You have a very twitchy mouse there.
To be ninja.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
The red button's your punch. Black, I think, is your jump, and if you hold both, you can do that.
This is actually almost looks playable at this point, because I know at normal speed it was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's very fast. Yeah.
It's got digitized sound effects, and it plays actually a little bit faster than the RS-DOS version now, because this is running in native mode. I haven't patched it yet, but it's just native mode itself is kind of kept it up with running it under NitrOS9.
This is cool. I never would have. And now this is not using hardware scrolling either, right?
Nope. Stack blasting is what it's using.
Like having to go behind the phone booth or whatever that is there, so you get like your 2 layers.
Yeah, this was a pretty good game under RS-DOS too. I mean, the same author, Glenn Dahlgren from Sundog, he originally did Warrior King, which ran fairly slow and kind of choppy, and he got a lot better by the time he did Gun Guy. And then Kevin Darling and Eddie Kuntz, there was a challenge saying you couldn't do a decent arcade game under NitrOS or under OS9 back in the day. And they took the challenge on and ported it over. I think Kevin had the basic port done in a couple weeks, and then Eddie kind of cleaned up a few things about it.
Hold my beer.
Runs just fine. And if you hit clear, you can hit to another window, and it actually will auto pause.
The power of
Dang, that's fast.
multitasking. And you're right back. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
This was really good at work, because sometimes Bill and I would be playing this, and then one of the bosses would pop
Yeah,
by, just
yeah,
quickly clear
yeah.
over. Yeah, we're running the printers. I'm just writing a program here right now. As soon as he's gone back to the game.
Okay, so Dragon Bites is asking, is the optimized NitrOS9 version faster than RS-DOS?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Well, this one isn't optimized yet. I haven't started optimizing
Oh, it's native
this
mode,
one.
though.
Yeah, it is running native mode. So OS9 has a little bit overhead, so it would have ran a bit slower, but the native mode is running about 10 to 15% faster by itself. So it's slightly faster than the original. And if I go in and optimize the sucker with TFMs and stuff, it should be a fair bit faster. I haven't started that yet, though.
Getting my ass kicked.
And digitized sound effects throughout. There's punches and
Yeah.
grunts and all kinds of stuff.
That is neat. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing this, and the first time I saw it, I'm like, man, this is so slow. This is unplayable. I didn't even want to try it. So, yeah, I might be interested in doing this once it's at a decent clip, you know?
What do you think? This is still too slow, or is this?
No, this is probably playable here, but if you can make it faster, that would be even better, you know, so.
Yeah, I'm going to concentrate on the Sierra first, because I do want to optimize the Sierra games to also be faster, as well as fix the memory issue. Oh, you're dead.
That's neat. This is neat. So all of this is going to be baked into Beta 5.
Yep.
And when do we think Beta 5 is going to be available?
It's going to be out by the end of April, for
The end
sure.
of April.
And depending how fast I can get bugs fixed, including that one I just found in G Shell. I did some changes to do the renaming of icons, but that means if an icon was designated to be an extension, like, for GIFs, for example.
Okay.
Where it's supposed to, assign the same icon for every GIF, and then you double click and it launches whatever your GIF viewer is.
Right.
Unfortunately, whatever I did when I was optimized or changing it to allow you to change the title of a program from what the actual program name was, means that when you do one of those types of icons, it just lists the name of the program to launch, not the name of the file itself. So every single GIF you get is called view, for example. All 30 or 40 you got in your directory. So I've got to fix that. Okay. I think I know what I did wrong, but I only literally discovered the bug yesterday. I haven't had a chance to fix it yet. I'll just kind of, while he's demoing it here, I'll just run through my notes. Floyd Wrestler, I got one of his games on there called Magic Stones. And he's actually, once he gets unbusy with work, because his job is unfortunately really busy because of the virus. He's actually working on getting both Dungeon Depths and Gem Quest to work. So those will be some more games probably coming in Beta 6. Speed Ups in the 6809 I mentioned before. Sean Driscoll's Knights game, which is a kind of a weird chess. There's a new Mastermind graphical game. Super Ike we've talked about. There's a text version of Sokoban with all 50 levels. In fact, you can edit your own if you want. Fixed a bug in Disasm. The new IO-Man has a new attach call. There's a new OS9 Kern and Kern P2, which has some speedups with 689 that are pretty drastic. I wrote a kernel utility for editing kernel tracks, which is more for the tech heads. I fixed the corrupted icon for the demo app because it was fried. Oh, Run Cyrus Chess. That's another good one.
Oh, wow. This is 640 high res?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now this is the port of the Cyrus chess cartridge for the CoCo 1 and 2 from Tandy that Chris Burke of Burke & Burke ported to OS9 to run the 640 screen. So he actually gets to keep all the directions and stuff on the right-hand side. And you can play with joystick or keyboard, and it's actually a full chess. But it's got the nice animations where if you move your chess pieces, they don't just blink over. They actually slide over top other pieces.
Okay, and stuff, did he add that animation?
I'm trying to remember if I haven't played Cyrus on the cartridge in so long I can't remember.
The sliding was there in the original Cyrus.
Okay.
But basically, it's the Cyrus chess game, but remodded onto the 640 screen so that you can have all these explanations and command lists and help built in, while having all the animation and everything else. So otherwise, cool. it plays just the same.
That's cool.
And Control C to exit if you want.
Dragon Bite says he loves the virtual CM8 experience, Rob. With the door, CM8 with the door.
Of course.
Yeah.
Door.
Now this is the problem. Cyrus Chess sets high res mouse mode. So when you exit Cyrus Chess, your mouse doesn't work. So you've got to have a high res mouse. Or
switch to keyboard mouse and then run control to reset. Yeah, no, there's a few apps that did that. I really hate authors that did that.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh, yours is okay. I do know there are some apps that do override settings, so I have to find out how to patch those if I can to get them to, leave the mouse alone, because they were meant to run as standalone programs back before Multiview came out.
Yeah.
So of course they forced, left to right joystick. They forced high res, low res, etc.
Hey Curtis.
Yeah.
Why is it called G Shell? Where did that name come from, and why is it Multiview?
Ask Tandy, because they called the package Multiview and they called the program G Shell.
Graphical shell is what it stands for,
right? But yeah, but they could have called it Multiview itself.
Yes. So isn't it really Multiview?
Well, Multiview is a whole package that includes some other support programs and stuff too, like the control panel and G Clock and the calendar and all that stuff. So Multiview is the whole package with all those programs combined. G Shell is just the graphical shell to let you double click stuff.
Okay, now
Windows.
The other question I have is
the graph. Sorry,
the slider on the side goes up and down.
The scroll bar.
If there's enough icons on the screen to warrant it, yes.
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Just like
well, it's just an indicator how far you are. Use the arrows to move.
It's a
I do want
Windows
to change that
scroll bar.
eventually too.
Okay.
Run Shanghai actually.
Okay.
The original
Shanghai?
Rick Adams version. Yeah. I set this one up a bit differently because there's alternate tile sets on the OS9 version. So you got regular Shanghai, you got Shanghai TR, which is the traffic tiles, and then Shanghai CR is the cards. So you can actually, instead of having to remember the parameter to do it, like on beta 4, you can just pick which version you want to play and just double click it.
And by default, does it have the alternate color set too? The like ivory?
We actually enabled the option so you don't have to find that hidden little square, so you can just pick original or alternate, so you can actually select it easily. Yeah, double click one of the traffic or cards, whichever one.
It's definitely easier to figure out what the hell you're looking at, right? When you see two yield signs there, right? So
yeah, there's the original and alternate color sets, which will change the border.
And the alternate is kind of the ivory colored.
Yeah.
Rick Adams' preferred colors.
Yep.
Yeah. When he hid in there because Activision didn't want that.
Yep. Stuck it to the man. Yeah. No, this is cool.
What a rebel.
Yeah. And the playing card tile set looks cool too. There's also a VEF template, and there's a little utility that Alan DeCock did for it so that you can actually load it up in a graphical editor like MV Canvas or something. And you can actually edit in your own tile sets, and then you run this little converter, and it pulls all the images out and then makes a new tile set.
Like David
file.
Lads and Nick Morotas and stuff? So yeah,
you could. The CoCoTALK version, or as some people would call it, the loser version.
Don't forget your Drive Fire RS-232
Turkey edition.
It says return to OS9. Aren't you still in OS9?
Yep.
To
yeah,
the
be clear,
OS9
you're still
window.
Boom.
Back.
I really should say exit game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was once again meant for the 120K machines. So
yeah, for single taskers, those losers.
And I've got Sean Driscoll's basic 09 version of Shanghai as well, which I mean runs slower obviously because it's not written in ML, but it actually runs pretty good. And then there's Carmen Sandiego's another one of the VDG style games that now launches and plays.
I'd like to call asparagus on OS9 talk at this point now. No.
Hey, we're talking about games here, man.
I know, I'm just messing with you. Yeah.
It's a perfect segue to GameON later.
Yeah, and we're not even done yet. I still have a section I'd like to talk about.
Oh, Christ. David wants to talk about something. So, yeah.
Do it. Click on it. Do it.
Carmen?
Curtis, is it okay to run?
Is Carmen...
Yeah, this one, Nick, is this the one that doesn't exit cleanly?
Well, that's the one I didn't know how to exit cleanly.
Yeah, I mean, you can kill it off manually, or we can just use this as the last demo, or we can, show a level 1 game too.
Look how fast that is. It's just
boom.
Instant.
Broderbund. Look at that animation. Man, listen to that sound. Is that a sound chip?
That's digital to audio, digital to analog.
Digital to analog converted sound.
And it's a bit warbly too because OS9 is running G shell and trying to read your mouse and everything else.
What freaking color set is this?
This is a 4-color 320 mode because they needed the extra RAM at 16K. And they changed the palette on every single country you go to have the 4 palettes selected for that particular country.
Okay, so this is definitely a CoCo 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
320 by 200 by, or 320 by 192 by 4 color with palette changes as you go.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
And just so, Curtis, just so people know when they see the sparklies, can you explain what that is and why it's there? Like when certain...
Is it magic fairy dust?
What was the question? Sorry?
Sparkly. Something about sparkly.
When certain things load, like HymGod.
Yeah, that's because some changes that Bill and I had done in NitrOS9 way back got rolled out at some point. Because you have to time palette changes to be on an H-Sync or a V-Sync to get that sparkly to go away. And we had done that, and we built it into the clock module so that it would just catch up every time the clock was checking for multitasking and a tick and reading the keyboard, etc. That stuff went bye-bye at some point in the last 25 years, and now whenever they set the palette, it's immediately done, which might be in the middle of a scan line, which means you get that flicker as it's changing the palette registers. So Bill and I are going to be working on in beta 6 to try to get that back to where we had it, and that should fix it on all the games that have this problem.
I love the look at this teletype thing here, though.
Yeah, it's got sounds too. It's like doing the beep 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 as you're going across. Sorry, Ron.
Yeah, so, something I was going to ask you too is there a graphical interface for modifying your baud rates and using your printer?
Yep, that's under the Tandy menu on G Shell. There's printer for printer stuff, and I can't remember the other ones for the baud rates. There's a few things under there.
There's an icon for a printer. Does that work?
That's actually print. So you'd click on a text file, a single click, and then you'd click on the printer, and it would actually fire up the Gprint module, which would then print it out based on your margins and stuff, and actually print.
So you're saying go to the Tandy menu, which is
that
X, next to files, the little X looking thing like the.
It's a TC Tandy logo shrunk down.
You can go to printer.
Yeah, port is your RS-232 ports.
Oh, there you go. Port name. So how would
I don't know if do we have any serial ports even on the EU written?
So it's T2. It's T2 for the pack.
Yeah, and T1 would be the bit bank. I don't know if I have those installed on Ease of Use because I haven't gotten to those yet. Neither is Bill, and we're trying to just put stuff in that we know works, especially with all the changes we're doing.
What's the default baud rate?
Actually, whatever you set up in your boot when you made your boot file, which Bill's new boot editor will let you change on the fly when you're making boots. You can change it to default to 300 or 19.2 or whatever.
Well, we don't know, do we? If we just boot into...
You can type the xmod command or xmod2, and it'll tell you. You have to look up in the manual what the corresponding number means, but you can find out what it's currently set to. Most terminal programs will let you override it in the terminal program itself, though, obviously.
And Curtis, there's a guy on Discord that's going to be writing a new control panel.
Yeah, that's what he said there's a guy in Discord who's going to be writing a new control panel.
Oh yeah, I saw that, and I mentioned like as long as he keeps using the environment file in dd.sys, so it's compatible with the old, he can add as much. I mean, that's what I've been adding some of my stuff for G Shell in.
Okay. Anything else we can show?
Well, we can show one level 1 game just to show it a CoCo 1 game. You'll have to quit Carmen. Now, this is I don't know if this is going to work properly. Try Control C or Control Q or something.
I've never seen it before. I think it looks pretty cool.
No, that's where I got to, and it locked there.
Yep, it's locked.
Okay, yeah. Go to a shell. Just type proc. And then kill, what is that process for? I think that's one of the ones where it's trying to exit with some weird chain thingy.
Okay. Should we look at simulators or strategy?
You said a level 1 game.
Yeah, I don't want to tie up the whole segment here on just showing all the games. Okay. We'll have to have just some surprises.
You're in level 2, though. Did you want to show?
You're in level 2, yeah.
I know. Okay, I wanted to see some more.
Yeah, Microscopic Mission works perfectly fine. It exits cleanly. I should mention that. That's a Greg Zumwalt game.
Okay.
Flight Sim 2 also.
Okay, so here there's 2 we could show, and I'll let you pick which one we end the show with, or end the segment with, I should say. The arcade game is Zero Gravity, which is a port of an old game by Mr. Perkursky, who's done a bazillion games for T&D and Chromaset back in the day, which was ported by a friend of mine locally here in Saskatoon years ago. It's a level 1 arcade game. And then the other one you could run is Biosphere, which is another Greg Zumwalt game.
Let's look at Zero Gravity.
Yeah, Biosphere I think everybody's seen before. So.
Okay, arcade, Zero Gravity. Here we go. Boom.
Chromaset Magazine presents Zero G.
I think I'm going to flip my switcheroo. Oh, no artifacts.
Nope, it's a pure black and white game. Left and right arrow keys, turn, and then the Alt key is your thrust. And you have to hit those targets before your timer runs out.
And there's a fire button. How do you fire?
There's no fire. You got to hit the targets.
Oh, you have to hit it. Collision.
Okay.
And it's got pretty decent sound effects, so we can't hear it now at the moment.
That's the thrusting on this is pretty fast.
Oh, it gets really fast if you hold it down.
And he bumps around like a pinball.
Yeah.
Pretty great.
And there's a disc version, a disc basic version of this one as well. So
that's cool. That's very cool.
And then just hit N, or unless you want to play it again.
And it exits gracefully. How do you like that? Carmen San Diego could learn a thing or two from that.
Well, like I said, they were limited with 128K, and they did some special wonky stuff to even let you get a shell. So that's the stuff I got to fix because they were designed for that. Microscopic mission was actually designed properly because there's not much extra code. I did notice that the programs that seem to know how to exit properly were written by CoCo people. So, like for example, Greg Zumwalt had worked with OS9 since back in level 1 days with Biosphere and stuff, so he knew how to do the proper exiting. The ones that were done by the third-party developers that just started on the CoCo when the CoCo 3 came out, like Epics and stuff, they had no idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, Curtis, talk about the disk image that David Ladd contributed.
I'll let David talk about that because he likes.
How about we take another commercial break because my brain needs a little diversion at this point.
Asparagus.
Asparagus. All right, we're going to take another commercial break and then we'll be back with David Ladd, everybody.
It's a threat, not a promise.
Yeah. Have we done Fletcher? I need to find Fletcher. Which one of my commercial breaks has Fletcher? I can't find it. Fletcher. Okay. We'll be back after Fletcher.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Fletcher, I don't need that report tomorrow.
Great, JT.
I need it tonight.
But JT...
Fletcher saved $300 on her office away from the office. Radio Shack's revolutionary Model 100 computer. It's a word processor, phone directory, and dialer. It even communicates with the office computer.
Fletcher, how's that report? Fletcher.
Radio Shack's Model 100. Save $300 and put it to work.
You'll go far, Fletcher. You'll go far.
And now, CoCo Thoughts by Samuel Gimes. On holidays, Uncle JT would entertain us with stories of his business conquests and his assistant who would meet any deadline that he imposed, no matter how ridiculous. Well, until she shot him in the face, that is.
Hi, this is the award-winning Alan Huffman of Subetha Software, and you're watching Stevie Fall Off Cliffs.
What's going on, guys? Stevie Stroh here, and I want to say thank you so much for being part of this adventure with us. It's been such a great experience in doing CoCoTALK every week, and the support we get is just amazing. And so the fact that you watch and listen is all the reward that we need. However, if you would like to become a patron of the show and offer some financial assistance towards the production and hosting costs of the show, we do have a Patreon site available for that, and you can reach that by going to our website at CoCoTalk.live and clicking on the Patreon link. But just do us a favor and watch and listen to the show.
Hey there, I'm Marco Roser, and you're watching CoCoTALK.
This is not the Joey cereal switch. This is the Joey cereal switch. Control up to 3 cereal devices. Order yours today at cocoman.biz.
Radio Shack, America's technology store. Right!
This Christmas, Tandy has a very special offer. A family color computer pack to take away at a very special price. This family computer comes complete with software and costs an incredible $449, a saving of $241.69. It's powerful, educational, and ideal for the young and young at heart. The easy way to start computing. The Color Computer Family Pack from Tandy. Get it while it's hot. Tandy, the biggest electronics store in Australia.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Tim. Playing Dagger like that idiot from the book. You're watching CoCoTALK.
All right, and we're back like that idiot from the book. So everybody fasten your seatbelts because David Ladd's got something he wants to share, and he's probably excited about it. So David, are you excited?
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. All right. So since Rob has a real CoCo hooked up, I'm assuming he's got the current beta going on it.
Oh, I do, David.
Oh, that's excellent. Let's take and reboot into Disk Basic, sir.
Okay.
I need to wash my hands.
Oh.
Now we're talking.
All right.
That.
So the image should be all
Welcome,
grayed
Green.
out, correct?
Oh, it's
Oh,
mounted.
come Green Warrior.
Well, type dir.
No, I don't know. If it's
Type
mounted.
dir. Okay. So now the thing is that I went through and made the hard disk images for the SDC for those that don't want to deal with the whole waiting to get into OS9. You can go in
I can wait.
and I got a nice finger for you there, Nick. So right here you can.
Shouldn't we call it autoexec.bas?
Did we lose David?
Did David drop off now?
David, did we lose you?
Who the hell muted me? All right, so basically you take this auto.bas.
I thought it was autoexec.bas.
Right, you rename it to autoexec.bas.
Ah, gotcha.
And then on your SD card, you will need to make sure that your either the 68 or the 6309 version of your SDC image is mounted in drive 0, and as soon as it's on the CoCo, it will boot straight to NitrOS9.
Okay, so you're basically saying you want to modify your SDC startup file to automatically boot the ease of use thing for you.
Seems to be.
Is that what you're saying, David?
Well, it's a two-part stage, the way the SDC works. The SDC's firmware to mount the disk images is controlled by a file on the SD card called
startup.config?
Yeah, startup.config. And then if you put 0 equals whether you're using the 63 SDC.phd or the 68 SDC.phd.
Making a lot of noise.
Yes, I know. It's annoying. Basically, depending on which one you choose, and then when you reboot, it will then come up and look for an autoexec.bas. SDC DOS does. And then when it finds it, it runs it. And of course, in this particular image is DOS, which then boots you into NitrOS9 without having to wait.
David, if I just change autoexec.bas to something else and rename auto.bas to autoexec.bas, that's all I have to do. I don't have to change the config file, right?
The config file, if it's not configured to load your SDC for the NitrOS9, then you will have to edit all.
So if you're already set up to load the Explorer at boot the way I am, then really you just have to rename the file.
This is what a nice menu program.
Okay, I'm a little bit lost at this point. Are we talking? No, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic here, but I understand the CoCo SDC can launch an autoexec.bas file. That's how the normal SDC Explorer boots. So what are you saying, David, that's different than are you saying that instead of launching SDC Explorer, if you want to, you can change your file to launch ease of use directly the minute you fire on your CoCo with the SDC? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yes, because the way this hard disk image is set up, it's not just an OS9 disk image. It's both an OS9 and this basic disk image. So therefore, there's a small section that's reserved for disk basic that has an area for the autoexec.bas, which Curtis renamed to auto.bas. So you have to name it autoexec.bas, and then you have to have it.
Okay, can I interrupt then? Can we just fix the image to where the file is named properly so we don't have to manually futz with it? Because that just seems asinine to me.
I had already had it set that way, but other people decided it needed to be a different way. So if other people want it that way, they need to talk to the person that changed it. Thanks.
Okay, I'm just not understanding why we're like, well, you mount it, but then you have to rename it. That just seems like...
I'll give you the explanation here. Most people that are using ease of use also want to use SDC Explorer and play games and stuff. When you change the autoexec.bas here, that means as soon as you turn your machine on, it's into NitrOS9. You don't have access to the SDC Explorer. until you power off and then reconfigure your drive or rename the file type thing. So the thing was, like, I know Nick had tried it, and it actually, the first version I sent Nick actually had a bug in it, so it crashed on boot, and it just went into an endless loop of crashing on boot until he shut the machine right off. So because the majority of people are trying NitrOS9 as a fun thing, as opposed to like living in it like me or David would do, then in this case we just set it up so that you can change it just by renaming this. If you're a NitrOS9 diehard, you can rename it, and then you'll just boot NitrOS9 every time you turn your CoCo on. But for the average person, we left it so that you can optionally do that.
But so this is what I'm not understanding.
I have an idea.
Yeah, why don't you have a little menu when it first boot up that you can go into?
Which is exactly what I've been working on.
You can use SDC to do that already, type of thing. I mean, you can just select NitrOS9 and it boots. So,
but
I can integrate this into my menu, I think.
I mean, this is not going to automatically boot OS9 unless you change your autoexec BAS file to tell it to automatically launch the EOU disk anyway. So it's not like this is an invasive thing that's hijacking your system. You have to go out of your way to do it.
Well, I did that on purpose because if I left it as autoexec BAS, and as soon as you mount this drive, then you're NitrOS9 every time you turn your CoCo on.
So have a menu before.
Oh, so what you're saying is, okay, now I'm following, because I didn't make the connection here. So if you, because it's always booting into OS9, there's no way to stop it.
Get back to the Explorer and
other than how? Okay, so here's another dumb question. In order to modify your autoexec BAS startup config file, you got to do that on a PC anyways. You got to take the SD card out and change that file, because most people are not doing that file on the CoCo. So I don't see this as a huge problem, because you one way or another you got to manually turn this on. And so if you manually turn it on, then you can manually turn it off. This is not like an unsolvable problem.
Yes, it's a feature.
It's a feature. Okay, so I understand why now, but again, I wasn't understanding why. Well, shit, if I want to change my SD file, I'm going to put it in my PC and just edit the file on my PC anyways, right? So
I don't know. For most casual users, they usually just select the ease of use from the SDC Explorer anyway, because they don't run it all the time, right?
Okay.
So this way it doesn't hijack your system. But if you're somebody that lives in OS9, like a few of us do, then this way you can skip right into it right off the bat.
But this disk format should streamline that, because instead of having to mount the disk separately, you just mount the one, right? For ease of use.
Okay, so what does that auto BAS program do?
That's a good question.
Does it just type in the word DOS and launch it?
No, it does some pokes, and I'm not really sure exactly what the pokes do. If David could answer that, because he's probably more familiar with it than I am.
What's inside the autoexec BAS file?
Just the path to what disk to launch when the SDC boots.
No.
It's all that stuff, which I'm not sure what exactly that's
doing.
Okay,
so I don't know why it's doing all of its stuff and then doing that stuff, but you could do a line 5 saying, would you like to load SDC Explorer, yes or no? If they hit yes, then have it run SDC. If no, then continue this. All right.
Yeah, you could. I mean, SDC Explorer already has that option. You can just pick, the NitrOS9 image and launch it from there too. So
okay, so
a bunch of if then.
So what? So I'm a
little
bit lost in why we even started talking about this, because it's if we're talking about a method to boot OS9 directly, then I don't know. Okay, I'm still lost. All right, I'm gonna.
I don't understand why this is hard.
This is overkill.
I think this is a feature. If people want to turn it on, that's it.
That's all.
Yeah.
I've been working on a boot menu which does a bunch of stuff that this could be added to. Like, just have a separate program that launches, and that boot menu says launch SDC Explorer or launch DOS, whatever. Like, could you do it that way?
Yeah, there's multiple ways you can do it. Yeah.
And then
I just figured for the casual user, if they wanted to try NitrOS9, so they want to play Kim Guy or one of the newer games on it, and then if they had the autoexec on there, and then they hit Control Alt Reset and go back, and then it immediately boots back into NitrOS9, because it basically hijacks with the autoexec. So you literally have to shut the machine off. That's what Nick hit. And then when I gave him a buggy version that crashed, it just made him an endless loop of crashing.
Yeah, it's just a feature for power users.
Yeah, basically that's exactly what I would say.
Okay, I mean, I could have missed. Yeah.
Who just said power users?
For the people that don't even want a menu, they just want to go in NitrOS9 because that's where they live. This is for them.
Dragon
They've got
Bytes.
to get a life, don't they?
You could add a timer and have it automatically launch a default.
Yeah, because you can do that too through SDC. That's the casual user's way to do it, I would think, because they switch between games and running other stuff like Color Max and NitrOS9. So It's just an option for the power users.
What does peaks do though? Like what does doing peaks do? Because peaks doesn't really have any effect. They weren't pokes.
Yeah. CPLDs, a lot of times the peaks will change states. Dragon Bite says if you hold down the shift when turning on the CoCo, it will bypass the auto exec stuff. Just so you know.
Yeah, but people have to remember that, and I'll bet you 90% of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
Is there the way to exit?
That's why we're mentioning it here.
Yeah.
Number one, anybody who wants to use NitrOS9 is demented anyways. So if they're having problems using
Thank you.
What is this all about anyway?
Okay, so
it's the only place you can play Shanghai with alternate tile sets. It's the only place you can have Dexter load you as Immortal and start on any level you want.
So get back to the original thing, because I got and wasn't picking on David, so hopefully he doesn't think I was. So this is one of the few times I wasn't picking on David, but I don't understand what the original statement was or the challenge of this was. So can we?
It was basically a power user thing, so you can just automatically boot straight into NitrOS9 as soon as you turn your CoCo on. That's it.
Like using the OS9 installed on a ROM
without having to go through a menu to select it first or anything else. If you don't want to waste the time doing that, and you just
so what was he saying then? He was saying basically change your SDC to boot to the ease of use disk, but then on that disk you have to change the auto BAS to auto exec BAS.
And then it'll automatically boot as soon as you turn your CoCo on.
And again, and I'm sorry, I know we're going in circles here, but I don't understand why it needed to have a different name when it would never come up unless you specifically pointed to it.
I did that because the image has the auto exec built in, which means if you turned if you went to your startup configure thing on your SD card and told it as soon as you see an auto exec run and you've got the NitrOS9 as your default mounted drive 0, you would automatically boot NitrOS9 every single time you turn the machine on.
You're renaming it was a fail-safe in case somebody didn't want it to auto boot.
And most people don't.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that's the. I mean, I'd love it if everybody adapted NitrOS9 completely, but that's not feasible.
All right. And David, I don't know if what I said upset you. I was not trying to pick on you. I didn't understand, and I was literally trying to understand. So
was me.
He left, by the way.
Curtis, is there a way to exit OS to the SC feed?
So you're breaking up there on what?
Is there a way to exit OS9 NitrOS9 to STC cleanly, or do you have to?
You can hit reset twice. You can do the control reset. Either way works.
So there really is no way. Command. Is there a way to exit OS9 at all to get back to RS-DOS?
Yep. There's 3 ways. You can either hit reset twice, or you can hit Control-Alt reset, or you can run the reboot command -B, I think, for booting right to RS-DOS.
Okay. . All right. I still don't fully understand it, but that's okay. It's not that important.
It's meant for power users, and obviously you're not one. So
I just
Stevie, you can set the SDC to run anything you want.
And I understood that. I was not confused about that. I just didn't understand why we were talking about booting directly, but in order to do it, we'd have to rename something before we could do it.
Well, basically, we've added the option of booting directly, but I've disabled it by renaming the file.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on.
Somebody said, oh, you don't want to hear?
Move on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody in chat clarified perhaps.
It's 2:09 for me.
NitrOS9 is done.
Okay. What were you going to say, Nick Marotta?
Sorry.
Somebody in chat said, I think the clever trick that David is using is combining the AutoStart basic program disk image and the actual NitrOS9 disk image into the same single file.
Yes.
Does that sound right?
That is true.
That's what we're missing.
So that you can distribute one file, not two. The current distribution has 2 files. It has a boot disk and it has the hard drive image.
Yeah.
What David's trick does is it allows you to distribute one disk image, which can be booted on an SDC. That's the summary, one-line summary.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is the value added.
Okay, so would that mean it would have to be a completely separate SD card for this purpose?
That's probably the easiest way to do it if you are one that jumps between the 2 worlds, because you can just make it a NitrOS9 card and just pop it in and you just immediately boot.
Yeah. All right. I'm
GameON.
I'm not trying to be difficult. I still don't understand it, but we're going to drop it because I don't think we're going to achieve anything by talking in circles here.
I'm not sure why. But
Next.
let's move on.
All right.
It turned very contentious.
No, I'm not trying to get that, but we're moving on. All right.
Pretty simple.
So, are we
Auto boot or no or don't?
What were you, Rob? I can hardly hear you. You're like in.
It's not important what I'm saying.
Okay. Have we pissed off everybody yet, or no? Is there anybody here who we haven't pissed off?
Not yet.
All right. No, and listen. I was not trying to be difficult with anybody.
I had a hard time understanding what the value added was until Dragon Bites explained this. Now I get it more. So I think I don't think some of us were seeing what was done that couldn't be done another way. So David added a trick that wasn't clear. And I think Dragon Bites and cleared it up, I believe.
Maybe for him. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna move on, and maybe next week we can have a follow up. Hey, Tony and Jacques. All right, so we're gonna move on to Game On. Nick Marotta, are you ready for Game On? We're gonna do our.
I don't
intro.
know. Are you guys in the mood for?
We got it. Yeah, we have to.
Let's cleanse our palate.
We need to cleanse our palates because yes.
Do you want to roll the?
Yes, we're gonna roll.
Is there an intro or something?
We're gonna roll the intro. Yes. Hold on. All right, everybody, it's time for Game On. That's right, where Nick Marotta is going to be talking to us about what game we've been playing this week. Are you guys ready? It's time for... All right, Nick Marotta. What have the kids been playing at home this week?
Well, last week we've been playing one of the versions of Quicks.
Get
the
your
Tom
kicks.
Mix version. And this was our best week ever. We had 18 participants. I'll say we had 18 participants. We had 18 participants.
Okay.
You'll see the scores and understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, if you want to go ahead and roll the video that Rob Inman produces for us every week. Thank you, Rob.
All right. So these are the results. And here we go. Drum roll, please.
Number 10, we have Canadian Retro Things with 70,898. Number 9, Bryza with 88,172. Number 8, Mark Bosley with 90,617. Number 7, Mr. Dave 6809, also known as Sid, 92,379.
There's some good scores.
Yes. Number 6, Boat of Card, John from Migos Retro Gaming, 94,669. Number 5, Tom C, 108,037.
Tom C from Jersey.
Number 4, Me Times 3, 115,336. Number 3, The Devil Bunny, Aaron from Amigos Retro Gaming, 229,747. Number 2, Paul Shoemaker, 236,682. Is Schumacher? I hope I pronounced it right. And number 1, back with a vengeance, Buck Owens, 559,985.
Buck Owens.
Yes, Stevie. Every day, Stevie's like, I'm gonna do a game on.
Oh, shame! I have usurped Grant Leedy in the shame game. Rightfully so. I should be ashamed of myself. Oh.
So yes, the list in order of score.
Good video, Rob, as always.
I hope I'm not at the bottom. Please don't be at the bottom.
So our honorable mention.
You won't be. I
am. Adam Tandy, David Ladd. Oh, these are not in order of score. Rob Inman, what are you doing there at the bottom again?
They're in order.
Coco Man got 3
Wait,
points. How the hell do you get
Coco
3
Man
points?
beat me? Coco Man had 3.
All right,
I don't know how you get 3.
Jason, no.
Jason, you should have made a
CoCoTALK.
video.
All right, I'll do worse next
Buck
week.
Owens. All right, so Buck Owens.
Jason, you need to submit videos, Jason, to show us how to make videos with how to make such low scores.
How to score the lowest on the game of the week with being above not zero, not included. Zero doesn't count. It's got to be a whole number above zero.
And a positive integer. Yes. So.
Jason, this isn't the Price is Right Showcase Showdown.
Oh, should I bid $1?
So yeah, well, so anybody want to talk about the game, what they thought?
I'd like to get back to the whole custom auto exec bass thing if we can. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
You can set up to launch quicks automatically for those quicks power users who don't want to.
I'm sure that's what Buck did.
So so I really enjoyed the game, and we had a really good turnout, 18 people. And it seemed to resonate really well with the community. So I know, Curtis, you didn't play, but I'm sure you played. I'm sure you played a lot in your past. I don't know if you have anything you want to say about the game.
Well, I did notice that some people were using like the game is set up for composite colors, the VDG color sets. So some people, when you pop the CoCo 3, it replaces one of the colors, I think yellow with gray or something like that. So some people played it that way. Some played it with the proper colors. Some of you actually did the palette changes to set the green to black, which makes it a bit easier on the eyes type thing. So that's depending on your preference. I don't really have any tips on playing it though. Really, this was not one of my better games. I know I didn't officially participate, but it wasn't one I played a lot even back in the day. I played it once in a while, but I never was very good at kicks. So,
well, I have a couple of videos. I have a couple of videos that show a couple of different play styles. If I'll show excerpts from them.
Sure.
So I'll take the screen. Let's see. Okay, can you see my browser window?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Oh shoot, the menu covers.
I also subscribe to bbw.com. That's great.
So the first video is from Rob Inman, which shows a more traditional way that people play by they create boxes. I shouldn't mute that.
Yeah, lower the volume considerably. Okay.
And also, I got to do which is this one? No,
which
the one in the middle. The middle one.
Cinema mode. Yep.
Okay. So this is Rob playing, and hopefully the link is going into it's a YouTube video. So this is a more traditional way of playing, where you just create the boxes and cover more than 75% to claim victory.
I did make it to level 2. Once.
I don't know if you did in this video. I was looking for when you actually trapped him. I don't believe you did.
Nope.
I could be wrong.
Not in this video.
Came very close. So anyway, yeah. So this is a traditional way of playing, where you make the boxes and you trap them. And then also Buck Owens. A few people also did another way where you can actually create a trap. So that's what Buck Owens did. And this will hopefully, what? Why can't?
No, it's making like
Oh, there we go.
columns there.
It is playing. So this is near where he will.
So why the hell is he doing this on a Commodore monitor for starters? That's that's like posting something in the
he does
Facebook.
something really funky
oh, look
here,
at that.
though.
It's
Like,
trapped. Yeah.
Watch. He'll make the quicks virtually disappear into like one dot.
Yeah, he can bring it down to 1 pixel.
So this is what I thought was really interesting. I've never seen this before. Anybody do this before? Basically,
Very
now
difficult to do with the
like,
enemies.
It's like gone.
Where did it go?
It's like 1 pixel, and it's stuck. So he gets like.
And now you can do a slow draw and get a big fill, huh?
So he gets he gets the high 50,000s on the first level. I was able to get low 50,000s.
Look at that. Yes, that's cool. I've never seen it trapped before.
Like, yeah, he basically gets you down to 1 pixel, which I thought was really interesting.
On the first stage, though, on the other stage, it's very difficult with the enemies crawling around.
Yeah, but I mean, he did get 500,000, so he's obviously well at the other stages too.
Amazing score.
The way I used to play in the arcade, because this is based on quicks in the arcade, I used to draw just straight up the middle, just keep stacking boxes up to the middle, and then you automatically cleared half the screen, and then you just had to work your way across the other half. That was my strategy back in the day.
Now, keep in mind, this version of quicks has a more linear quicks than the one in the arcade. The arcade one had a more random moving.
Yeah, it was a bunch of lines.
Which was the other version of quicks that was made for the CoCo. But I chose this one because it had the slow drawing, and I really like that risk-reward factor. So, and also I kind of like the fact that this was a little more predictable in movement. So anyway, so Buck Owens has a Twitch channel you can subscribe to, which if you want to see more of his videos. And Rob, do you have a Twitch channel too? But do you play your CoCo stuff on there?
What's the question?
You have a Twitch channel, correct?
Yeah, I have a Twitch channel.
Do you play your CoCo stuff on there?
I do.
Can you see your CoCo? Do you want to plug your Twitch channel?
It's not right now.
Okay, fair enough.
You can just go on YouTube. I stream to both of them simultaneously, so usually they have the same content.
Okay,
I'm
there you go.
SF Knight 3 on Twitch, but I'll
I wasn't sure if you wanted to plug it. Okay.
And I want to mention too, Buck actually does a lot of retro gaming for various platforms on there too, not just the CoCo, and he's a wizard game player on just about everything. So.
Yes.
Anybody?
Buck Owens on Twitch.
Legendary country artist and awesome game player.
Salute.
Anybody on the panel want to talk about the game or any experiences, or anybody in the chat room?
Yeah, I have a good strategy.
Sure.
Can I share for a second?
Oh, yes.
Okay. If I can. Oh. It's a quick one. There we go.
What the heck is going on there? You have drawn 1,000 boxes and you've got him trapped.
Oh, he's not trapped. I'm trying to tire him out.
I don't know if he's got stamina that he has to deal with.
Quicks meets Maze World.
Oh my goodness.
I'm kind of tired and tried to see who would out first.
I mean, are you trying to say how much can you cover without actually ever reaching the 75% mark? It's like as close as you can get without going over. That's interesting.
I did another one
Somewhere
with the
Malcolm
red
Mortar's
boxes
hiding.
as well.
That's funny.
There you go.
That's cool.
That's my contribution.
Cool. 18 people, so that's a record. I think this game...
Yeah.
It could have been 20, but Curtis and Steve.
Shame.
Yeah.
At least I was busy
20.
doing something CoCo related. So.
Shame.
We'll need to get that sound.
Hey, I did manage to put together a video that was CoCo related, so it wasn't completely CoCo neglected.
Does it auto boot with autoexec.bas?
I'm working on that, but I want to come up with a real simple two-step process for doing something that is usually done in a very simple one-step process, because that to me makes tons of sense.
Well, rename Quick.bin to Quick.biz.
Okay.
And then in case you don't want to launch it.
Okay.
And then
there we go.
We love you guys. So are we ready to talk about next week then? Or does anybody else
Yes,
have anything
we
else?
are so ready.
So can I say, Curtis, that this is a tie-in again?
You betcha.
This is a tie-in week. So this is another tie-in week with the Amigos Retro Gaming guys. And this will also be a popular choice because I've heard it bandied about as a game that people would like to do. So the game is, anybody recognize that?
I don't see anything. You're not sharing.
Well, that's
Yeah, I've been waiting a week,
worked
Nick.
very well.
Double back.
So that will be the game of the week.
I will mention that the Amigos actually recorded their, triumvirate of shows here yesterday, a bit earlier than normal. They did actually in the morning, but they have the double back episode on the live recording on Twitch and YouTube, and the actual separate podcast version of the CoCo show will come out on Wednesday.
So there we
with
go.
the review double back.
That's cool. And so, and we should probably find the link to the Dale Lear interview too, because it might be nice to hear Dale Lear talk about this and of his other projects too. We have that. We'll have to find that and put that out there. If you guys check my my YouTube channel, there's a link for interviews. There's a playlist called Interviews, and in there, the Dale Lear interview is there. Okay, I'm looking forward to this. And we already know there are some strategies that we talked about a while ago in this where you could sit perfectly still, get all of the magnets to get above you, and then get them all in one shot. A few things like that. So this will be interesting to see how we do.
Yeah.
And this does keep high scores, right? Is it just one, just like the highest score is what it keeps, if I'm not mistaken?
So, yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't have a high score list. If it does keep,
No,
high
I think
score,
it just has a single high score. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So that wraps it up for my.
That is one of my favorite CoCo games. In my personal top 10, this would be in there with Daggerath and a few others. Yeah.
Yeah, and an original.
An original, absolutely. All right, I'm looking
This was
forward to
actually
that.
ported.
I am
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Good. So hopefully we'll get good numbers again this week. And because really the fun is having everybody play, whether, just getting everybody to try it and hopefully discover something they never really appreciated before.
Yeah, because I've never even heard of this game until I got back in the CoCo community a few years ago. So
You didn't hear of Double Back back in the day?
Hear Double Back?
Nope, never heard of it.
Oh,
I don't know
my God.
I think
Did you
the
ever
lowest
go to
you'll be
Radio
able-
Shack?
The lowest you'll be able to get will be
remember
like
it.
10 points, I think. I don't think you get
10
less than
points?
10. I don't think you get less than 10 on this one, but I could be wrong. Is it 10?
You can
Is
go
that
for a
what
record.
the
You can go for the lowest score.
carries
to
are
get a
worth,
chance.
or the apples or whatever? I don't know. I can't remember.
We'll find out. I know that.
I'm motivated to play Double Back. That's a game I understand. It's a game I enjoy. I don't need any convincing or anything to play that game.
The one sad thing is that Dale had actually done a port of it to iOS on the iPad and the iPhone, and unfortunately, after he passed away, after about a year, because he obviously didn't renew it, it actually has disappeared from the App Store.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it was awesome on the iPad too.
Yeah.
You just use your finger to draw
You
your.
can literally draw on the screen. Yeah. So it'd be kind of cool to maybe modify this game to use the X-Pad, where you could draw with the pen around your stuff. That'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah, I have tried it with the Wyco trackball. Not that easy.
Yeah. Tony Jacques is asking, has anyone played the Windows versions of Dungeons of Daggerath? And yeah, I have.
Yes.
Some of my earlier videos on it were using that version. Yeah. And I believe that's been ported to Android too, the Dungeons of Daggerath. Microsoft.com. Why is it coming from Microsoft.com? You just posted a link. Dungeons of Daggerath. I guess, can you get it from the Windows Store? Interesting.
Oh, maybe.
Okay, Fred just posted the link to the Dale Lear interview. Thank you, Fred Dufoy, our French-Canadian friend. Cool. Well, thanks, everybody, for playing this week. Playing kicks. Get your kicks on Route 66. Good stuff. All right, does that end the Game On segment there?
I've got some regular Game On stories, but that ends the challenge.
All right. So we have some Game On news now. Who was going to say something? Erica?
Can I point something?
Yes.
The sound when you die on kicks, right? First, the sounds are really amazing. I love the sounds of kicks. When you die, that you get the speed up kicks going about, the sounds are just amazing. They bump on the walls. That's a pretty great game. I think that game, mostly everybody who had a color computer played that at one time. It's a very popular game, I think. Though my score was like something like 10,000. I didn't even post, but I did play.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
no shame there. Unlike me.
Or me.
No, it's a good game.
Though, on the Time Bandit stuff, I think I can break a few millions.
You are the king. You're the Time Bandit king for sure, man. Yeah, we showed some of your screenshots last week where you had gotten the secret messages and everything.
Yeah, I tried live for testing, and the live software works really fine. But it was just that quick game. The 200,000 I got lost. But I remember when I beat the game, it was over millions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
And the thing is that on the last stage where all the things were closed, there was a message, but I was too young and I didn't know English at the time. Though I did translate, and it was a long time ago. I don't remember. Anyway, I'll do it again. Don't worry.
Okay, that'd be cool. We'd like to see that. Challenge
I hope to
accepted.
record it as a long play.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so Curtis, you got Game On News. Are you going to cover this, or is Nick covering this?
Curtis.
Yeah, I'll do this
Okay.
part. Did you want to break first, or did you want to go straight into it?
No, let's just go straight in. We've had a few breaks. Does Ron Delvaux, do you need to go potty, or are you good, Ron? You're good? All right, so Ron doesn't need a pee break, so I guess we can plow through.
Okie dokie. Okay, seeing the screen?
Is this a Jim Gary?
Of course. It wouldn't be Game On without a Jim Gary game, or 2, or 5, or 10. And in this particular week, 2. So the first one here is a car race game.
Can you see your screen, Curtis?
Pardon me?
Oh, no. See it.
Oh, okay. Might be a bit of a delay there. Anyway, the first one here is an update to his car race game. So he's actually released this one before, but he did some optimizations, etc. on it. So a little percentage thing showing you how far down the track you are, and opposing cars and moving highway type thing. Lowe's graphics. He actually has pit stops and stuff in it too.
That's pretty cool.
Get up to the pit stop.
Yeah, pretty cool.
How come Nightmare Highway doesn't have pit stops?
Well, obviously, because
Probably
Ken's not as
they can
prolific as Jim Gary.
Nightmare Highway has sudden stops.
Nightmare Highway always has couches, though, so that's a bonus. So.
Yeah, that's the real question. Why does this game not have rogue furniture?
Yeah, it's
And exploding
unrealistic.
cars.
It's
Exploding cars.
unrealistic.
And then the second Jim Gary game is another update. It's a Night
Very
Blitz.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, the playing more. This is great.
I like how he actually has the planes rotating in low res too when you're steering.
Yeah, that reminds me of like Atari Combat.
Yes.
That's very
Yeah,
cool.
it does.
And really nice speed too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you say are these MC10?
Yep. Though these will work on the CoCo too if you just convert the code over.
I need to get my MC10 going. Jim's doing some awesome stuff on it.
You know the lower part, the image down there, the city.
Yeah.
It looks like it reminds me of what was that Atari 2600 game, similar to Missile Command, where things would go.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about Atlantis from iMagic.
Yeah, it does seem to be so Atlantis look-alike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this
it'd be
is
a great
neat.
game too.
I wonder if he's doing. He can't be doing set and reset on this, right? This has got to be printing, right?
Yeah,
to
character
get that
strings
kind of
I
speed.
presume,
Yeah.
to get the speed.
Though
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
a pretty cool game.
I've seen other games where he can plot faster. Maybe the game logic takes a lot of time.
Yeah, but it's still pretty quick.
He's not using that new if-then thing we discovered thanks to Alan. So.
Most likely not.
If, and it's no longer, it's if.
Yeah, the if-then stuff is amazing. Truly.
So I mentioned that the Amigos did their pre-record of like they do the bulk of their shows on Friday, and then they release them gradually depending which show it is on certain days of the week. So I won't play the double back episode coming up Wednesday. If you guys want to see it, it's a part of their YouTube 3-hour stream of all their shows put together, or on Twitch. But they did release another one that John did, which is I know Steve commented on this as well about doing a side by side, because of course the ongoing argument is the Donkey King on the CoCo versus the official Donkey Kong on the Atari.
There's no argument.
No, I mean, listen, I number one, I like being able to see these two games side by side. I love how they produce the video. I love how you can switch between, you can see the speakers under the one that's currently making noises. I think the only thing I really didn't, and this is just me personally, when you post a video in a CoCo group, and your comment in the CoCo group is the Atari version is superior, I'm just thinking to myself, well, what kind of friends are you trying to make here? Because, them's fighting words. So, and you can sit here and get into the semantics of the technical differences in the machines, but there's no doubt the Atari 800 version looks and sounds better because it had better hardware. So.
A Trooper looks a lot better than all of that. No hardware comparing is not.
Like the sound of him beating his chest, the fact that you've got the background music, you've got real sprites.
I mean, there's a couple things to say. I mean, other than the hardware differences, obviously the CoCo has to do a lot more heavy lifting itself. But they tried to get it, some of the screens, like the girder screen, for example, more closely accurately match the arcade version.
There were some big inaccuracies in the Atari version, though. Like the barrel level is like.
Oh, because Donkey Kong's on the wrong side?
On the wrong side.
Nobody could. Everybody
wrong
did
number
that.
Girders too.
Yeah.
That's the reason they put them on the wrong side. There's only 6.
5. Yes. Sorry.
Well, including the little.
Yes.
Also, the girl's misproportionately sized. She's as big as Kong, so apparently she's about 40 feet tall.
Now, not that ours is perfect either. The barrel level on ours,
no.
You only have to hop up to the top, girl. You have to climb. Like ours isn't 100% either, but it's a lot closer.
And I think it's interesting what they do when they put Pauline, how she switches sides when you get over there.
I think the arcade does that.
No, because she's above it. She's above it.
Oh, the Atari version, you mean? Yeah. I don't know. I think.
Yeah, ours just switches direction she's facing, I think, if I remember.
And I think that's what the arcade version does, is Pauline just stays in the middle and turns around.
Yeah.
The thing too is, though, that the CoCo version actually came out before the Atari version, because the CoCo one came out in the end of '82, probably about the November-December time frame, and the Atari one didn't come out till I think about mid '83. So the CoCo one actually preceded it by 6 months too. So
yeah, see, I'd never seen this Atari version either too. I didn't know it had these levels and the animations and the intermissions and stuff like that.
Well, some of the intermissions and stuff on the Atari one were on the second version. The first version did not have all those things, so they did a revised version years later. That updated it too.
Okay.
Which, I mean, if you want to get into that, well, we can just throw in, John Kowalski's Donkey Kong. Okay, that was done later too.
Yeah,
and that's arcade perfect. But it was just fun that this has kind of become the ongoing joke between Aaron and John and well, Nick and me and John, and we'll put pretty well the CoCo community and John. Superior. So
yeah,
the world versus John.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you could make the same argument that just about any game on the C64 is going to be superior because it has a sound chip, it's got sprite chips, it's got it's got more color. So any system that's got more hardware is going to be if you've got graphic hardware, you've got a color palette register thing, and you've got sprite chips and hardware scrolling, you've got all those features, you're going to be better. And so, but that's like saying a BMW is better than a Hyundai. There's more there, right? So, and at the end of the day, it's your opinion and what you like. And I'm not going to sit here and be so blind to say no, the CoCo version's better than the Atari version, because the Atari version looks more arcadey because it has the palettes.
But that depends what you're looking for, though. Are you looking for the technical specs, or are you looking for the accuracy? Like it depends what you're looking for.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. When it comes to what an individual's preference is, I could sit here and say, hey, listen, I love chocolate ice cream. It is the best ice cream in the world because I feel chocolate ice cream is superior. Somebody else could say, no, I like strawberry. Are we both wrong? That's just our opinion of what we think the best flavor is. So,
yeah, they're just different.
There's licenses also to consider. The Atari one was licensed. The CoCo one was illegal.
No.
Right.
I prefer to say independently produced.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Under a proper license.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that are impressive about the Atari one, but there's a lot of things we could say about the CoCo one that says, listen, this guy Chris Latham did this at home. One guy, this was his pet project, and he produced, without the benefit of a studio and licensing and all these other things, he did it on his own. That's impressive. And the fact that a computer without a sound chip and without sprites was able to pull off a very playable game is also impressive. But I think John also mentioned this ran on a 4K or 8K system back in whenever it came out. So
yeah, because I think it came in ROM cartridges.
Yeah. So because we don't have all those features, we have to create software to do all these things, right? So
show them the Apple II version, Curtis.
I've already closed the window. So.
I think part of the initial kind of, and it's really been fun, but I think part of the initial headbutting was John didn't care for Donkey King at all, whereas Aaron, who's the other, really likes it. And so it was like, John, what are you talking about? Donkey King is great. So even on their side,
they've got their own.
Much like Curtis and I, how I'm right and he's wrong. In this case, you have
and Aaron's even commenting in the chat. He says, "I prefer the CoCo version every time. It plays more like the arcade," and I have to agree with that. Myself too. Now, as far as sound, I mean, obviously we won't be able to compete with sound chip because we can do multi-voice music, but it has to be like in between scenes because you can't do it simultaneous until the CoCo 3 came out.
But I tell you that whenever you jump or pick up a treasure and the sound makes the whole game stop, that makes a dramatic kind of slow motion into the game. It's not something bad, and I actually like it better than not having it, or maybe I was used to it.
In Donkey King, I don't see it as a hindrance, but I tell you which one did mess with me was Donkey Monkey, because in Donkey Monkey, when you jumped over a ribbit, the sound stopped the game, but it also it interrupted your momentum. So you had to keep holding the joystick in the same direction, or you would literally fall through the hole in the middle of the jump, which was just
because you can steer your jumping in Donkey Monkey.
Yeah. So that one I found I had to
played that one.
I had to like work around the back asswardness of the game design.
Yeah, no, it's been interesting. I mean, even John's admitted, like one thing they try to do in their show when they're doing, some of the other machines is that they try to base the review on knowing what the hardware limitations were.
Yeah.
So this is more like a tongue-in-cheek thing between Aaron and John, because obviously the CoCo is, trying to brute force its way through with purely software to do stuff that's covered on the Atari or the Commodore or some of the other versions that's, covered by hardware add-ons they already have built in.
Because John's objections to Donkey King were not related to the technical specs of the CoCo. He thought it didn't play enough like the arcade for him to enjoy it, which I disagree with.
And that's the chocolate and vanilla. Which one which one is your favorite? It's up to that individual. So,
and to be honest, John has openly admitted he hates Donkey Kong. Period. No matter what platform it's on, whether it's the arcade or whatever. Too, he's just not a fan of the game. So,
and that's again, Curtis and I are being tongue in cheek, but Curtis feels that Lancer plays more like the arcade Joust. And
let me tell you why you're wrong.
And I'm not trying to bring that up again, but again, it's just like, what are you looking for? You're looking for arcade accuracy? Are you looking for, so
it's in the eye of the beholder.
And I don't really think Curtis is wrong on that. That's just we have fun with that.
No.
So.
Yeah, I don't. Both games are good. Both have good plus. Same as Donkey King and the the Atari version of Donkey Kong.
But really, the more important question is should it be auto exec bass or just auto bass? That's really
Stop right there. Oh,
Steve, you're making enemies today. I hate to tell you. You're gonna have some apologizing to do later.
Somebody owes me an apology.
Oh,
you just almost closed the window there.
I did close the window.
Noom nuts.
Let's see if I got the.
Stop right there.
It's the gift that just keeps giving.
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh, that's bad.
Okay. Now, who is this? Eric
Sperano? Is that how you pronounce it?
Sperano?
Sperano.
Oh, is this the Tetris thing?
Yes.
Oh,
he's just learning 609 assembly language, so he decided to make a Tetris clone called Spetris, and he's actually got it up on his GitHub, and he's got video.
Really good.
And if I remember correctly, if I do this, it screws up.
Yeah, this is really good. I remember seeing this one. Yeah, and then
that's very fast.
Yep, and then when it fills in, it like stars across the bottom line and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I remember watching this, and man, it looked really good.
It's a good job.
Yeah, and it's kind of based on the original text version from Russia because they did it in a text mode like this too. And even the OS9 Tetris is actually done on the 40 column screen with colored text characters like this as well.
I've seen DOS versions like this too back in the day.
Well, Tetris suits the SD4 mode very well.
And then there's one where he does it, it's just in text mode, right? Same thing later on, just shows just the characters. Color monochrome. Okay, so this is monochrome, huh?
Yeah.
This is so beautiful.
It is. And the fact that you can slide it under while it's still moving too, that's great.
Yeah, the speed this stuff moves is impressive.
That's cool.
And he's got the source code up in his GitHub too, so if anybody wants to take a boo at it. Yeah, well worth the checking it out.
Well worth the price of admission. Now, did he call his file auto bass or auto exec bass?
Probably he renamed
We're back to that, are we?
He renamed it. Auto exec before.
For asparagus' sake.
You're gonna have to buy somebody flowers. I mean it. You have to send flowers to somebody.
Buy me flowers anymore.
Really?
Really? Okay. What do we got
Next
here?
one up. Allison Denue's a new member in the CoCo group here, has said, it's no Nightmare Highway, which is the ultimate in shooting yourself in the foot, I think. But I wrote a little game for the CoCo 1233. Hope you enjoyed, called Xenocide. Now, I have not had a chance to play it. Looks like Alan did, and I think Alan had to leave. I don't think he's still in the
Did she by any chance have an Atari 800 comparison that she called superior while she was talking about this?
Most likely.
So I don't know anything about the game. I never had a chance to try it. Does anybody on the panel, besides Ellen, who I think is left, give it a shot?
It seems like Steph is shooting.
It looks like you got these nuclear bombs going around the planet, like we're playing Nuke the World or something. I'm really interested in this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, Alan's comment is intriguing. He says, "Wow, there's a lot going on here. The sound effects are very, very cool. I'm trying to figure it out."
Okay, we'll have to check that out. I'm glad you caught that. I remember seeing it, and I was hoping you were going to talk about that.
And this is actually kind of related to GameON in some ways, but Paul Shoemaker actually has some of the original discs for some of the games we've done on the GameON Challenge Spotlight before.
Neat. They
so
look
these
really
are the original discs of Time Bandit and Quicks, which we just literally completed.
They look really pristine too, like real clean.
Now, I don't know if that's the original jacket for the Tomix, because I know the Tomix games I have that came on disc actually came with the big TM logo in gold on the actual jacket of the disc itself. So. But maybe that changed over the years. I'm not sure.
Awesome.
It's pretty rare we see original software from this era still kicking around.
Yeah, because I don't remember buying any original software.
And in good shape.
Now I want a floppy disk just for aesthetics.
Yeah, all mine had the
we
little...
printed the labels.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got some of the ones from this era myself, but most of those are on cassette. I didn't have the disc drive at that point, so...
Yeah, I had those on cassette.
Very clean. Very pretty.
Strong in 3D. That's... just a nice badge.
An intriguing comment from Steve Ostrom here said, maybe an interesting story about Quicks from Tom Mix. I wrote a basic text adventure for Tom very early called Shipwreck, and I do remember seeing the ads for it. So we'll have to maybe get Steve on the show here and kind of review the Shipwreck game at some point. But the interesting part of that story here is that he mentioned that he was actually approached about doing Quicks for the CoCo, and he started it, and then he wasn't able to finish it, and then Claude Gagnon's version came out.
Okay.
Not too long afterwards. And he's also, I think, the guy who did the Monopoly game for Tomix as well.
Yeah, I liked Monopoly.
Yep, that's the one.
Very cool.
Next up, and you don't see this too often on CoCo games, but a complete playthrough of an educational game, start to finish.
Who did this?
This was done by Michael Pitsley, whom I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
Carefully, you might learn something.
Educational.
Okay, we're going to do a video of the Walt Disney.
And this is the older Walt Disney stuff that was actually on cassette.
Government on the TRS-80 color computer. From beginning to
Goofy
end.
covers government.
Here we go.
Doesn't get political now, does it?
Is this a game that Stevie can get the level to?
It's actually loading it from cassette. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's using the green background.
Yeah.
Gosh, Moogie, I'm getting educated on the government here.
No, I think it's the white, actually. I think he's...
Oh, it's actually doing the cassette audio. He's got the audio on coming through there.
Oh, my. That's great.
Is he his camera tints just off, Nick?
Yeah,
I'd say so, because he's got some blue in there.
Yeah.
Some of the other Disney games did the cassette audio as well, like
Yeah.
the black hole related ones.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice feature because you had actual recorded dialogue coming through your computer, and that was about the only way to do it.
Multimedia back before it was a name for something.
See, Gunstar could have done that, Nick. Could have had a cassette that he plugged in.
Yeah. Could have said.
And the
"Stop
animation
right
of Goofy
there."
blinking his eyes is cool too. They
Yeah.
actually did a good job on that.
Great. Those are really great graphics.
Yeah, high res. Oh, they get some animation there. So the
Yeah,
car.
they had a company that was good at that.
We're picking up a photographer I know.
Lots of motor on, motor off.
Yeah, you get.
Yippee-ki-yay, Coco.
Yeah, so
Masters.
it's cool that they are still able to get the artifact color to come through in that green palette mode. So the green mode
It might
lets
just be the camera on the screen though. I think this is actually, I think Nick's right. I think it's actually the white one. It's just that it's
The tint is way off. Color temperature's off.
Yeah. Because you can get very dulled artifact colors on the green mode, but you wouldn't
Yeah.
get a blue that bright.
No.
Anyway, I won't spoil the ending for you. You'll have to go check out the 20-minute video on your own.
Wow. So does it get to the part where there's a Russian collusion comes into the government, or is that in the sequel?
Oh, if we could spend that much time on the autoexec.bash, we can't watch this whole thing.
Okay.
And this one was posted on Facebook. This is from John Hancock, who I guess does regular stuff there, and he's got his CoCo cartridge collection he kind of goes through. Oh, what the hell happened there?
What the hell happened there? What did you get for using a Mac, Curtis?
No, I swiped the mouse with the button accidentally held down, apparently. All right, YouTube, right on.
Cool.
Well, now we have some time. Let's talk about that AutoExec Bass thing. Holy grails, huh?
Does anybody watch this guy's channel before? Apparently, he's fairly popular.
Not me.
That's a very Sega
The Immortal
inspired.
John Hancock here, and today I'm sharing with you my
This is
Tandy
good.
color computer collection. The Tandy computer was a classic computer, came out in 1980, and it was out over a decade. There were several cartridges made for it, and I'm sharing with you what I've collected over the years. So sit back, relax, and I hope you
Several.
enjoy the video.
Were there like
We'll just
200?
Skip forward through here. So there's his
Wow,
general collection.
Nice.
Okay.
Looks like his beard could give Ron Delvaux a run for his money.
I actually have his autograph.
Oh, yeah?
His John Hancock.
Ah, yes. Okay.
So he's got a mix of CoCo 1 and 2 and 3 cartridges.
Okay.
And some of them are the home finance and stuff too. It's not all games. He's also got like the pistol grip joystick you can see on the right. He's got a Atari converter box.
Okay.
And one of the old converter boxes from back in the day. He's also got some of the more modern stuff as well.
It's interesting to see some third-party cartridges here too, like this. The Fraction Fever, was that a Tandy company?
No, that was
or-
Tandy.
Oh, was that okay? The one above it too, Alphabet Zoo, that was Tandy.
Yep.
So they
That's
that's
part of,
basically
actually that was what Bob Weezer was showing off, was that series
Brian.
of Spinnaker games.
Yeah. Okay. So Spinnaker was they were licensed through Tandy. I didn't realize that. I thought they were just third party.
No, they were
The
sold through
graphic
Tandy.
back.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Nice collection.
Yep. And he kind of goes through his zoom up so you can kind of see them.
Okay. Yeah. I
the
see the
graphic.
Radio Shack label on there on the Alphabet Zoo. Yeah.
And then there's Malcolm Mortar, another
Malcolm
game
Mortar,
that's
nice. and the
featured on
blister
Game On
pack.
Spotlight.
Yeah.
Malcolm Mortar.
And he goes through
Game
some
I
of
have
the
a new
hardware.
appreciation for.
You can tell that's an old one. It's got the wood grain
yeah.
adapter box.
Nice. What does he got there? A freaking toilet paper tube for wire management?
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
it's pretty high tech.
Well, when you're isolated and you're hoarding toilet paper, I guess you keep the rolls or something, right? Yep. And then he does some
An
game
expensive
demos of some of
joystick.
his.
A really
some of
crappy
his-
joystick and the Atari 2600 one next to it. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Zing.
Oh, what happened here, Curtis? What
I don't
happened?
know. YouTube's being a biscuit.
Oh, it's running a commercial now or something.
Yeah, screwed.
Yeah,
Anyway,
your
go
homework
check the video out.
assignment. Yeah, your homework assignment is to look up an ad blocker, Curtis, because they exist. Cuthbert Dragon. This is the guy who's new to making Dragon videos, right?
Yeah, and he records it on real hardware on a real composite screen. So you get screen reflections, everything else. So they've been bumping up a few more for this week. Most of these we've kind of seen before, so I won't go through and play them all, like Screaming Dabs and Doodlebug with the alternate color set that they used in the UK because they didn't have NTSC artifacting. Jet Set Willy, Dragon Bandito. I don't know if we've seen this one before. It's a
you sure it's
slot
not
machine.
Bandit O?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, this is just to confuse Nick with yet another Bandito game. We've got 4 or 5 now.
I like the load screen.
Very neat loading screens.
Bandit O, do you want instructions? I like the font there. Nice font. Oh, I like that. Oh, nice. Nice.
This is not one I've seen before, so this was a new one to me.
Is this possibly in basic? Because the sounds sound like they are.
Could be. I'm not even sure, to be honest.
But it's...
The scrolling's obviously in ML because that's too fast for basic. But...
Oh, he's winning pounds. This was a European currency. I like one of the symbols is the Dragon 32. That's pretty cool.
Yep. I know we had numerous of these on the CoCo side of things too. This is a rather well done one for monochrome.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is the end of my Game On.
All right. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right. All right. Well, I think that's most of the stuff. Do we have any parting thoughts? Ron Delvaux, were you getting ready to say something? No, I thought I heard your voice. Rick.
Ulland, you haven't interviewed yet.
Well, we're going to save that.
Well, we're going to do a full interview with Rick. There's a lot of history to cover there.
Yeah, and make sure we really get into the whole auto exec bass thing when we do that. We have it all.
Hey, I have many options. Many options.
Do you still have any repack CoCos there, Rick? Or?
Oh, geez. Yes and no. We've went through an adventure getting a CoCo running recently. I probably have the world's only, just basic only CoCo 3. It'll run both speed pokes. It'll run just basic. It'll run the SDC. It'll run the SDC in an unupgraded multi-pack, which shouldn't work. But it won't run an OS9 as soon as OS9 P2 comes on. That's it. It's done. So I built a wholly different dead CoCo to get myself online recently, and we'll make this like a trivia challenge, I guess, or something. What the heck? Just basic only CoCo 3. How can that be?
You got a Morente's version.
Yeah, I was going to say, Steve would buy that.
I'll swap you.
Coco fits my shirt so well.
Yeah, it's a feature. It's a feature. It's a prevent OS9 inhibitor chip that's going on in there. So
it's a brand new, beautiful, no dust inside, never been used CoCo 3, 512K candy, C65, C66 clipped. Can't talk anymore. Should be great.
Okay.
Yeah, because you did a lot of stuff. I mean, you ran your own company that did hardware and stuff, and then you also ran the column in World of 68 Micros there for years. And
repaired CoCos for years. This is probably the 100th and more CoCo that I've taken apart and put back together. First one I've ever seen that I couldn't make work. So pretty fun.
Yeah. So a lot of history to go through when you do the full interview there, and we'll get into some of your columns and some of the hardware, like the 16550 based serial card you did, which is one we're definitely interested in because we want to get the driver from that and use it on the newer versions of those cards.
Hence the CoCo Recovery Project.
Have you had CoCo up and running all these years?
No. I was a Linux admin for years. I couldn't do anything computer that wasn't my forced job. I just didn't have the stamina. So I'm back.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're grateful for that. Great. And we have we've had a great panel today. We've had Australia and Brazil, Canada, United States, David Ladd. So we've got people from all over the place on here. And Rob Inman. We had lots of OS9 being shown off on the show today. And so
we're sorry.
We're sorry, right? So, It's a box of chocolates with this show. You never know what you're going to get, right? So should we go ahead and run the closing credits and then we'll come back for some parting thoughts?
Sure. I don't know anything, Dad, so.
We're going to go ahead and run the outro, and then we'll be back for some parting thoughts and hopefully put a fork in this train wreck, and we should be done soon. Now, I just need to find where is my outro. Here's my outro. This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTalk at CoCoTalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, click the Patreon link at our website at CoCoTalk.live.
CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world, keeping the Tandy flame alive. We may be mocked, but we'll never stop, 'cause CoCoTALK is rocking the 8-bit world.
CoCoTALK would not exist without the community, its cast, crew, and contributors. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Tom C., Rob Inman, Mark Bosley, Brian Joyce, Ken Reichert, David O'Connor, Brian Weasler, Terry Steggy, Nick Marotta, John Strong, and many more, especially to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and James Diffendaffer for making my head explode. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its various contributors. A list of resources is available at imacoconut.com. That's IMACOCONUT.com. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Sheeler. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore.
The CoCoTALK train wreck is over, and we welcome you to the last surviving car. Join us in Zoom for CoCoTALK Caboose, a recap of today's show. CoCoTALK Caboose starts now.
All right, we saved the best for last, the end of the show.
The train system does not use cabooses anymore.
What a shame.
That's why we got a good deal on it.
Well, I definitely want to thank everybody who's been here on the panel, especially some of our not so frequent guests like Erico and Fred Rique and Rick. Thanks for being here, and all our usuals for being here too. Thanks guys for our Game On segment. Pretty active and lively chat today too. So Amigos Retro Gaming is out there, Nick Marotta and Fred Dufois on Facebook, and lots of people. Rob Inman in the live chat, Mark Overholzer, Ken Reichert out there in the live chat, Dragon Bites, Rogelio was out there, Dave and Sharon was there also in here. You name it, you guys were there. Thanks for being here every week. We certainly appreciate that. Anybody have any parting thoughts, anything they want to talk about as we get ready to shut this down?
Well, I would just like to say everyone stay safe, and I'm going to stay safe because I have my 1 liter bottle of hand sanitizer made by a local regional distillery. So it's in a liquor bottle, but it clearly says on it, do not drink.
Okay.
So I won't drink it. But,
what could possibly go wrong?
I don't know. I think glycerin is probably not something I want to drink.
Blindness, methanol.
Yeah, it's.
Putting hand sanitizer in a liquor bottle. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, it says it's 80% ethanol, but
all you really need is to stick a rag in the top of that thing. You've got a perfect Molotov cocktail. So it's just...
You know what? I bought 2, so I have a backup. But it's high proof.
Science with Jason.
Yeah, I do.
How's the price compared to vodka?
This was about $10 US for a liter. So it's a little less than vodka because you're not paying the alcohol tax, the sin tax as some people may call it, but it was one of the Pennsylvania distilleries stopped making liquor and started making hand sanitizer. There is a shortage of it, so it's good stuff by Faber Liquors to do something like this. Pretty cool, and just happened to stumble across the good stuff.
It's some patriotism credit.
I was able to buy some General Motors toilet paper.
Oh,
6 rolls for $8.
6 rolls for $8.
Over. Instead of making cars, they're making toilet paper now.
Okay.
What?
Is it like those blue shop towels?
No, they got to use shop waste for something.
Yeah, right.
Is it like a CVS receipt?
Yeah.
I do want to. This show really helped me get through some hard times lately because I was really struggling with this whole auto exec bass thing. So it was.
Oh my gosh!
I want to thank this show for getting me through these troubling times. I'd like to thank Nick Marotta. For without him,
Stevie?
Nothing would be possible. Yes, Rob Inman.
David Ladd has posted your home address and told people it's an emergency room.
I'm not trying to pick on David. I was never trying to pick on David. I understood what David said when he said point to this file, but I didn't understand why we're pointing to a file that then had to be, and whatever. Okay, so I'll never understand.
Stop right there.
I think I'll explain it to you later, Stevie.
Okay,
I'll use small words.
Use small words. Speak very slowly and clearly. Enunciate.
Half an hour of our show went to I don't understand.
It's
autoexec.asparagus.
I figured out the fix. Use the Mac print screen command.
Okay.
Curtis knows it.
I don't have that button.
He's the only one that does, besides me.
I think the solution is just to go play double back instead.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Got to double back again.
And check out the interview.
Take a double black and play a little
back.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
Nightmare Highway.
Check out the Dale Leary interview too. That's a good one.
The Dale Leary interview is a great interview. Yeah, we did get a request for a little bit of Nightmare Highway. Stop right there. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, anybody else? Parting thoughts?
Got some time
Thank
to
you
kill.
guys for
Might play a
having me
little
over.
Zaxxon.
Thanks for being here, Erico. We appreciate. Hold on. Stop. Yeah,
Hopefully
appreciate.
my next game is going to be a color computer game. Certainly something like a roguelike game. But get to that point later.
Okay. And Fred Rique,
Thank you,
thanks
guys.
for being here.
Thank you for having me. You're always saving my Saturdays.
Excellent. I'm glad to have you. I would love to hear from Ken Reichert to see if there has been a spike in Nightmare Highway sales with all this media attention he's been getting between songs and interviews and stuff. So he might be, out on an island somewhere with all of his newfound fame and fortune.
How many
that he's got.
Ferraris?
What's that?
How many Ferraris?
Yeah, how many Ferraris has Nightmare Highway gotten him? Yes.
Yeah.
He's getting into Nick Marenti's money. All right,
He may be busy having them add the new wing to his house.
There we go.
Parking garage.
Anybody else
Nightmare
have
Highway
parting
might
thoughts?
measured in Austin Minis or Volkswagen Beetles. Sure.
Would that be like an aluminum shed? Would that be the wing?
I think it's just one of those little things that you hide your trash cans in.
Oh, yeah.
It's an outhouse.
An outhouse.
Hey, since we've had this virus thing and we're all sheltered, have you guys been able to go back and review some of the CoCoTALK shows from the past? No? Yes?
No.
I'm not really into self-harm.
Yeah, why would we want to do that to ourselves? I don't understand.
I did create a playlist. I did create the essential CoCoTALK playlist where you can get to some hand-selected ones that have some.
That's where I got the idea.
Yeah, so that playlist is out there too. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, check the playlists, and there's the essential CoCoTALK playlist. So you can kind of fast forward to all the good parts. Cool. So yeah, maybe some double backing is in our immediate future. Maybe even some double back streaming tonight. You never know. I've been procrastinating soldering on my audio cable, which is why I haven't been using my CoCo, because I gotta plug in my solder iron and warm it up. So it's a whole process. Dragon Bite says, enjoyed the show as always, guys. Thanks for doing it every week. I'm out for now. Be safe all. Thank you, Dragon Bites.
Thanks, Dragon Bites.
Are we ready to press the button in this one?
Yeah.
Push the button, Frank.
Okay, on the count of 3, I want everybody to say.
Caboose is ready to fall off the track.
We need a new sound bite. We need a new one of these here. We've already got the. So what we need now, on the count of 3, I want everybody to say. No, it's better than that. Stop right there. All right. So on the count of 3, we're all going to say stop right there. All right. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Stop right there. All right. We're pressing the button. Bye.